All right, let's call this meeting to order. This is the Doraville City Council meeting being held on February 11th, 2026 at 6 p.m. I'd like take a drink of water really quick. I'd like to remind everyone to please silence your cell phones. And also remind you all that Doraville is proud to be a city of civility. While differences of opinion are natural, let us approach each other with open minds, speak with courtesy, and treat one another with dignity and respect. Respect is the foundation of good governance, and we thank you for upholding the spirit of civility with us. All right, now I will call the roll. Mayor Geierman, I'm here. Councilmember Evans? Here. Councilmember Ray?
Here.
Councilmember Simmons?
Here.
Councilmember Nasser is absent. Councilmember Armistead? Councilmember Henshaw?
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. I'd like to ask everyone in the room to please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, would anyone like to make a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda?
So moved. I'll
Do we have a
second.
second? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, I'm going to come down for a proclamation that we'll be issuing. And I'd like to ask Reverend Dr. Winston Worrell and Mr. Darrell Armstrong to join me as well. All right, so I hope everybody knows that February is Black History Month. The month of February is nationally recognized as Black History Month. It's a time to celebrate, honor, and reflect upon the rich history, culture, and achievements and enduring contributions of African Americans to our nation, our state, and our local community. Generations of African American leaders, innovators, educators, entrepreneurs, public servants, and advocates have strengthened our democracy, enriched our neighborhoods, and paved the way for progress, equity, and opportunity for all. Through steadfast faith, integrity, and service, Pastor Worrell, Winston Worrell, since 2018, has led his congregation to extend its community outreach events such as the community house-to-house and school-to-school prayer walks, annual enrichment days and back-to-school events, the lunch and learn educational events, the annual community Christmas children's parties, annual Easter egg hunt for community children, and he's now organizing, and I just heard about this at the senior lunch, bi-monthly community dinners for families in need, exemplifying the spirit of servant leadership and community partnership. And through Atlanta Brand Central LLC, Mr. Armstrong has contributed to economic empowerment by supporting minority-owned local businesses, donating over $500,000 in product and scholarships, amplifying diverse voices, fostering opportunities for growth, visibility, and sustainability within the metropolitan Atlanta region and beyond, and doing it as a union business too. The city of Doraville recognizes that honoring local leaders during Black History Month not only celebrates their achievements, but also encourages future generations to serve, lead, and contribute to the betterment of the community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Joseph Geierman, Mayor of the City of Doraville, on behalf of the Doraville City Council, do hereby recognize and honor Darrell Armstrong, owner of Atlanta Brand Central LLC, and Reverend Dr. Winston Worrell for their significant contributions to entrepreneurship, community development, and economic advancement, and commend them for exemplifying the spirit and legacy of Black History Month. It's my honor to present these to each of you. Mr. Armstrong? Dr. Worrell, sorry. And first we'll take a picture, but let's honor them first. And thanks. You want right here or? ？  . 。  . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 . 。 。
Thank you. 。 . 。
And. 。 . 。 . 。 .
。 .
Thanks. You want right here or? And I'd like to give each of them a moment to speak, and we'll give Dr. Worrell the first opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mayor Geerman. It is just an honor to stand before you and to receive this proclamation from the city. My wife and I have been participant in this city for more than 35, almost 36 years. And our United Methodist Church has been in Dorville for 71 years. This year, next month, we're celebrating 71 years. I'm going to ask those who are from our church if they would stand, so we recognize you, those who are here. Thank you very much. Service is at the heart of who we are, and ministry and outreach and caring for others is on my heart. And when there's so many people who are not able to live a life that's meaningful and wholesome, it becomes a challenge for us. We want to see people who are not falling off this in our societies, but people who are being built up. And I am grateful to our mayor and to our city council and for all who are working so hard to build up our Dorville communities. Thank you very much for this honor, and may God bless you as you continue to lead us.
Mr. Armstrong.
Mayor, City Council, and constituents, I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm humbled, extremely grateful, and I have to say, I've been in business for over 30 years, primarily in the Atlanta metro area. This city, a year ago, invited us into your hearts. You've shown up, you have come by to visit and embraced us, and we're really appreciative. I just want to embarrass my two co-owners here, recent new co-owners. Would you please stand so that everybody can clap? They really tell me what to do, and they're the reason why we're successful. So I want to make sure I acknowledge them, and a special thanks to Gerald as well. We really appreciate this honor. Thank you again.
Thank you both. Okay, we're going to pause for just a minute in case anyone wants to leave a little early. You feeling okay? Okay. What it does, yeah. It's up to you. All right. Next on our agenda is public comment. Open to anyone we'll open it up to people in the council chambers first who wish to speak. You can have up to 3 minutes to speak about any topic that you like. Just state your name and where you live before you start.
Hi, Dawn O'Connor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, because when I'm watching sometimes at home, if people turn like this.
You get to the mic.
Okay. Dawn O'Connor, Northwoods. I know you have traffic calming on tonight's agenda. So I've spoken to the chief and I had a chance to talk to Taylor. Let's try to do something to calm the traffic down, even if it's the wrong thing. mean, we tried the little mini roundabout, and some people liked them and some people didn't. But I think Chris LaFleur made some excellent suggestions in his presentation a few months ago. Let's try something. And it's not so much the speed of 25 miles an hour. There are times that you can't go 25 miles an hour. You've got the Amazon delivery truck, you've got the little kids on scooters. People have to be aware that this is a neighborhood with little kids, houses and lawns that are close to the road, winding streets. We make it easy for cut-through traffic, and I know cut-through traffic goes on everywhere, but we make it really very easy for people to cut through, and they do. So let's think about how we can make the neighborhood safe. Addison, Chris Henshaw remains just a nightmare. People fly down the street. I had a taxi pass me on the speed bump. So let's try to do something about calming the streets. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Tim Snyder from Northwoods. I have written to you all. I suppose you know how I feel about code enforcement or the lack thereof. I think the criticism is justified. It's not personal. It's just a problem that exists. There's proof that it exists, and I really wish that we could find a way to work together, get in the budget somehow, and get. I know the presentation today about traffic. Maybe we do need to have the orange sticks or speed humps or I don't care what, but for me, it's not a matter of speed limits. Speed limits mean nothing. What's the important thing is that we feel safe in our neighborhoods. And if we're not feeling safe, then let's identify what it is that we're not feeling safe about and what can we do to make it. It's not about speed, I don't think so. The other thing I read in the packet, and I'm really hoping that Chief Atkinson talks about it tonight, our police force have done some really great things. And one thing in particular, I was just in awe of. I thought it was so awesome. I hope he tells you about that and he knows what I'm talking about. I think that was kind of it. It was just the traffic study. I agree. Yeah, that's about it. And the code stuff. Got to find a way that if it's just like I said, if it's the orange paper that we stick on somebody's windshield or whatever, to let them know. Let's try something because what we're doing now, as proof shows, it's not working. Again, but thanks for all you do, and hopefully we can all work together and sort this out.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Angela Fleury McClave, right there at Raymond and McClave. I just would like to share that during the holiday season, we had someone doing, is it wheelies where you just spin your tires and make circles? Okay. Well, I don't speed a whole lot. They were doing donuts. So if there's room for donuts, there's room for some calming devices. This is at McClave and Raymond right there. And the marks are still in the street if you'd like to go out and view them. Thank you very much.
I identify myself as Bacon, but if you want to know my real name, you can ask the police department. I just want to, this on Oak Cliff Road, there's been that little traffic thing, I don't know what you call it, crosswalk, is in the middle of Oak Cliff Road. It's been in disrepair for almost a year. And like nobody, like it's like it has like, what you call that? Solar panels. And you press it and you can like stop the traffic so you can cross. It hasn't worked for almost a year. And also there are trucks, like 18-wheelers going up and down Oak Cliff Road when they're not supposed to. Can somebody enforce the law? Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Looks like we have a couple of hands raised on Zoom, so we'll start with Tom Hart. Tom, I think you can state your name and where you live. Are you there, Tom? Why don't we go to Susan, then we'll come back to Tom.
Thank you. I'm Susan Frazee. I live in Oak Cliff Estates, and I want to say thank you so much for recognizing Winston Worrell, the pastor of Northwoods United Methodist Church. And I'll say that in addition to his role as pastor, and I attend there sometimes, and it's a wonderful service. It's a beautiful, historic, mid-century modern church, and I hope other people find out about it. And when I can't go in person, I can listen by Zoom, and I appreciate that they're technologically able to support that. He's been a leader in our community for many years. He's sponsored, as you've said, health fairs and blood drives and educational events and parties and school supply drives. He deserves this special recognition, and he's a regular at the senior luncheons. He is definitely part of our community, and we appreciate him. I also noted in the packet tonight, well, I always pay attention to the police department report because that's all we know now about what's going on crime fighting wise and neighborhood watch wise. We don't have crime mapping anymore. We don't get direct reports from the police department incident by incident with a lot of details, but there's a general summary. And there's two things that stand out for me about the one that's in the packet tonight that reflects what went on in January. On page 2, and you need to go and look in the packet online, or if you have it, some officers saved a mother and a baby in distress. I mean, what could be more dramatic than that? The baby was not breathing when they got there, but the baby and the mother went to the hospital, and the baby is reportedly fine. So I appreciate that. I noticed also on page 3 that our officers assisted the Brookhaven Police Department in protecting a peaceful protest in Brookhaven. And I really appreciate that. There are things going on around the rest of the country that I never want to see happen in Doraville. And if the police are cooperating with the planned peaceful marches, I think we can preserve our peace. And then, as always, our police make their usual regular visits to read to students at Hightower and Oak Cliff and Doraville United. That's wonderful. It's important. It looks like this month, in January, they also participated in a parents' workshop at Hightower. This is definitely ways to build our community up, and I thank them. Thank you for your service, Police Department.
All right, thank you. We'll go back to Tom. Tom, are you there? All right, going once, going twice, or we're gonna end public comment. Are you there, Tom? All right. We're gonna close public comment and move to the consent agenda to see if anyone has a motion to make in regards to the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion from Councilmember Henshaw, a second from Councilmember Evans. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, we get to hear city manager report. And Chief, if you don't mind, since there was a comment about the crosswalk on Oak Cliff, do you have any information on that?
No, but we will.
Can you look into it and get
we'll look
back
into
to
it
us on
and
that?
Find out.
Thank you.
I'll have some information for you. Mayor, to start off my update, I'd like to bring up Will Bryant with MPS. Asked him to give an update on the LDP process for the city center project.
Hi, everyone. I'm Will Bryant with McMillan Paz and Smith Architecture. Nice to see you all, Council Mayor. Wanted to give you a quick update on where we are in the LDP process for the city center project. We're muscling through. We've gotten comments from every department. We have gotten all those comments returned back, and we are waiting for approval from 2 DeKalb organizations and both fire and water. And we are also, we just got in the city comments. I am not worried at all about the city comments getting processed and done appropriately. The DeKalb it's a little bit out of our control, but we're checking the portal and contacting them on a daily basis. And also your master developer is doing a great job sort of leveraging his communications with folks over there and helping move that along quickly. And that is basically the LDP update. I wish I had an exact timeline of when that would be approved. My hope is that before 4 weeks passes that we will have something. Could be before. Like I said, we have the comments in, and hopefully it moves pretty quickly. Other than that, just a general update for where the design process is. We got our GMP, all while the LDP process is going on. We got our GMP set finished with specifications and drawings and over to the CM at risk. And so they are in that pricing process right now and moving along with that so that we can make sure that we are staying in budget and moving right along so that once the LDP gets out, we should be able to submit for permit right away, hopefully, and get the actual buildings under construction at the same time as the site. Any questions with?
Gary, do you mind coming up? I just wanted to ask you really quickly about that LDP process and any expediting that we're doing at the county level.
Sure. Mayor and Council, Gary Sobel. The LDP process runs traditionally in a sequential manner. It goes to fire, it goes to water, it goes back and forth. Comments, we've been very successful with the county to get things moving a little quicker. There is no perfect formula. But the LDP, Will, his team with the engineering team at Foresight has been responding to comments as quickly as they get them. And that's the best that we can hope for at this point. But I am in touch with the team at DeKalb that we've talked about before, making them aware where we see any kind of slowdown. Last meeting, we were talking about the fire taking a review. At this point, we're assisting wherever possible. So the LDP, we're moving faster than people without an inside track. But it's never quick enough, and so we're pushing as hard as we can.
Any other comments to fill in any gaps from Will, or that pretty much covered it? Your two halves of it.
Well, that's essentially the two halves. The other side that we've also been working as we've talked about is the lot consolidations. We've got approved and recorded on one side of Park Avenue. The other side, we anticipate having approved it and recorded within the next week. We had meetings Monday, last Friday, last Thursday with our assistants at DeKalb, and comments are back in on the police department side of Park. And so the two pieces coming together, but that's essentially the update. We're pushing at every level.
Okay. And you feel good about where the process is right now?
It's never fast
Overall.
enough for me, because I work on behalf of the city. But yeah, we're moving as fast as possible.
And just for anybody watching or listening who doesn't know, LDP is land disturbance permit, and unfortunately the city doesn't control that. It's controlled by the county, and we can't rush them any more than we are right now. So
We pushed as hard as we possibly can. The land disturbance permit will allow us, for those listening, to start grading, moving dirt, finish the demolition of removing pads, start moving dirt, and we'll see some tremendous progress. Our contractor, general contractor Choate, is standing ready. They're working with us on the budgeting side and the pricing side, but they can't wait to get back on the site and start moving dirt. So
okay.
got full cooperation from the team.
Let me see if we have any questions on that. Councilmember Armistead, Councilmember Evans, Councilmember Henshaw.
I know how frustrated you guys are with that because it happens to me all the time. So I appreciate you staying on top of it.
Councilmember Nasser, Councilmember Simmons.
Yes, sir. Are these only LDP questions? Okay.
Well, if you have another question for these two individuals,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No. It's real simple. It's more for Will, and Gary might be able to answer it. So I know you're pushing it back and forth. You're going to water and you're going to fire and all that stuff. Do we have a a temporary permit number where we can check online and see like a delivery date on when they'll come back with the comments like Atlanta does? I don't know if DeKalb does that.
So they do have a portal that you can monitor, and we are constantly monitoring that. I can,
So do they give a date on when they're supposed to come back out with comments on responses to our response of comments?
not really. They sort of, and it just sort of gives you the up-to-date action that they're doing.
Yeah.
What we're doing is still following up on that as you know, if it says that it's awaiting approval or something, which I call the department that's working on it.
Yeah, that was my next one, just to see. And, I mean, you're at their mercy. I understand. But anything we could say. But yeah, I just wonder, because I know City of Atlanta says like it's in review and it'll come out of review like in 2 weeks and gives you a date and all that stuff. Just sort of like Christmas, you're sitting there waiting for that day to show up.
Yeah, we have gotten by contacting the departments, we have found out new information about why it is being held up or whatever,
Yeah.
and been able to, the last time on the fire, we were able to sort of move that forward by getting the information to the right people and sort of say, can we move forward with this while this is still happening? So
That's good. And I just want to stay focused on it because it's always, then once it gets approved, I know we're going to be full throttle. So thank you. And then just the other thing you're talking about, got your GMP set. And do you have alternates for some of the stuff council's requested to look at, just so we don't go over budget? We can add and subtract, the restrooms was one thing and whatnot. Do you have that? So we're not paying you to do a GMP set to go back and do another alternate set. Can we have it all at once? So we're not sitting here doing it again and again, or does that make sense?
are
Or
you saying, do I have it to present tonight or?
no.
Okay.
No, you
No,
said you're almost finished
yeah,
with the GMP set,
Yeah,
correct?
no, we already
The price?
turned in the GMP set.
Yeah.
And we did include the alternates.
Okay.
Basically
Good.
the initial design for some of those things, and then the revised design. So
Perfect. That's it. I just
those
want to
are-
make sure so we're not sitting here having to go back through it again. You give us the base price that we initially said, and then you have alternates for like, here's some ads that
Absolutely.
we requested, staff requested, council requested, just so it can be more efficient on it.
Yes. Yeah, we
'Cause time's
have
money.
anything that was sort of above what we drew the last time. We've sort of asked to have that as a line item. And I'd say the council chambers is the only one that we don't have an alternate for, because that's just a new version. So it's sort of like, that was kind of, I think, universally agreed upon that everybody wanted to go in that direction. But so
Cool. Thank you.
Councilmember Ray?
Nothing additional. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll be happy when we start moving some dirt. We're working towards it. Continuing with the update, as you all know, I think everyone is aware that Assembly was approved by GDOT for the walkway that connects Motors Industrial to New Peachtree. I talked to Justin, and they haven't had the kickoff meeting yet, but they hope to have that soon. Because they're still aiming to have that completed before the World Cup. But that timeline is shrinking as we move forward. So want to make sure that that we get that done. HR is working on our Career Catalyst program. That's our intern program, our summer internship program with our high school students. We're working on kicking that off soon. Communications, we're working on State of the City with the mayor. I believe filming has done. So getting that taken care of. And we look to have the physical newsletter out. We're having an issue with the translation, but we're working through that issue. Hope to have that resolved soon. Also, we, as you are aware, we received a $1 million grant from Representative Johnson's office for the Chestnut Drive realignment. So that's a great thing that Austin was involved in. And several of us went over to Sequoia High School, Middle School yesterday to see the progress that they were making. That's going to be an impressive facility. As someone who went to that high school, the new one is going to be very nice. Little bit better. But that is a good high school. Public Works had a water main break. Well, Public Works is working on a water main break. We had a water main break at the bathrooms at Halpern Park over the cold weather that we had. Public Works is aware of it, and they're working through that. Turns out, I think Chris said we have to winterize our lines that we weren't aware of at the time, and we're working through that. We will be participating in a Tri-City recycling event with Brookhaven, Chamblee, and Dorville. More info to come on that when things get finalized. And the RFP for the 2026 paving was published yesterday, Chris told me. So hope to get that in soon. I know we've been talking about it for a long time, but court should be transitioning to courtware at long last. Hopefully February 23rd, we'll have the last interface with our current vendor. So then we'll transition to that. Sloan said that on October the 29th, we're holding El Nino Day at Honeysuckle Park. El Nino Day is a Children's Day. It's a festive celebration honoring children. And that will be held from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Again at Honeysuckle. Our 5U, 8U, and 10U basketball teams won their respective basketball championships this year. So that's good. And we will be hosting the 8U and 10U girls state tournament here at the arena. Code enforcement has issued several citations, again, for Holiday Spa for violations of their CUP. And that several other locations were also cited for coin-operated machines. And as was mentioned earlier, and you know about it from the media, our detectives worked a kidnapping case of a 4-month-old baby that was taken by the non-custodial parent. The child was, we couldn't definitively say that the child was in danger. Hence, we were able to get an Amber Alert. The dad just wouldn't return the child when he was told to do so. So our detectives worked that case. They took it on. It was serious. And I'm happy to report that the child was found unharmed down in Rockdale County. We were able to reunite that child with the mother here at our police department. So that detectives weren't going to let that go. And the suspect was also arrested at the same location. So that was, that's a really good story, especially when it's a 4-month-old baby and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know someone's mindset. Another case that our detectives worked was a homicide that we recently had. They worked through the night and were able to make an arrest. We have 3 people in custody regarding that homicide. And as was mentioned, we had officers respond to a planned home birth where the baby was not breathing. They showed up. They immediately began CPR. Happy to report that the baby left the hospital and is doing well. We will be presenting them with the life-saving medal at a future council meeting, them and some others. That's about all I have right now. If you have any questions.
All right. I do have one question, Chief. paving made me think about it. I knew we were doing a paving assessment of the whole city. Have we done that, or is that?
We finished it? Yes, Crystal Floor said we have finished it.
Was it going to be presented to council, or has it been and I just forgot?
Okay, yes. So the paving assessment is complete. So if you guys remember before we were going to put out 2026, we wanted to try to get the plan together. They didn't get the assessment completed in time. So for the sake of time, we went ahead, we went forward with the previous plan so we can get 2026 going. And we're working on the current plan right now. We're just going through all the data. And once I have the data, I will share it with everyone before it's like a, like a set thing. So, but it is done.
Is there any opportunity to
Yeah, absolutely. I could share it.
reshuffle based on, hey, this street that just came into the city really needs
Yes. yeah.
something? So
And-
that's the
and
only thing
those,
that I can
those
think
roads
of.
are in bad shape. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll come to the council pretty soon.
Sure.
All right, great. Okay. Councilmember Henshaw?
Thanks for the updates. Regarding the park bathrooms, I know that one of the bathrooms, the toilets are rusting, stainless steel toilets are rusting. So hopefully they can replace those. I'm sure that they've heard about that. You might not have, but I'm pretty sure there've been enough complaints. Question about the Motors Industrial, the construction, that road has already been narrowed by 1 lane. Are they going to have to narrow Motors Industrial further during any of the construction, or are they able to just block the sidewalk?
The plans that I have seen is that 1 lane will be, yes.
Narrowed down
they're gonna
further.
narrow it down to 1 lane since there's only 2 now.
Do you know if it's a daily, they'll shut it down for 20 minutes at a time, or are they just going to close it for 6 weeks or 8 weeks while they,
I don't know that, but I will find out.
Yeah, that'd be good just to let people know that that's, maybe post a sign that says road.
Yeah, we've actually talked about that.
Yeah.
That's going to cause quite a,
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of angry people coming off Motor Industrial. And then to piggyback off that, I know at some point in time, there's going to be a traffic light at the intersection of the main entrance at Assembly. Do we have any idea on timing of that? Or are they going to wait until their phase 2 is much further along before broaching that subject?
I haven't heard definitively, in speaking with, some people at Assembly and all, I believe it's going to happen once phase 2 gets going.
Gets going. Okay. I figured if they're closing Motors Industrial, might as well,
Well-
that's a whole nother thing. Could you speak about the Tri-City recycling a little bit more? What that's about?
Chris was heading that.
I thought I heard Tri-Wizard Tournament, just Harry Potter on the brain, but
Microphone back there. The Tri-City recycling event, it's we've participated in that event, I think 2 years in a row now. They're just finalizing dates, to be honest, but I think they're taking everything from metals to paints, and they have a full laundry list of items that you can
and we don't have a date yet on that.
not yet. They're just finalizing the date. So it was held at the Plaza, what is it? Plaza
Fiesta?
Plaza Fiesta. They just have to confirm the date with Plaza Fiesta. And then that's it.
Okay, I whatever we can do to make sure that gets pushed as widely as possible through every smoke signals, carrier pigeons, whatever we've got would be great, just to make sure that people are aware, because with the recycling program not being as robust as it has been in the past, it's important to let people know that they've got an opportunity to get rid of old paints, get rid of old
Right.
whatever. It's a good time in that way. The burden's not on you later on picking up trash. So, and then just a congrats on the realignment funding. That's spectacular. So that's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Nasser.
I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank you for during the winter storm. You guys handled well. Citywide sending all the warnings, and all the staffs stayed over the weekend to help out all the process that people need, or all the help people need. I appreciate it. I appreciate you and everyone in the staff. Thank you very much. Behalf of our residents, those who needed it. Also, I want to ask, I know there's some, you said some code violation. Some businesses done some, can you tell us a little bit about?
I don't have a list of the businesses that they have written to, but I will get them. I just know that they have issued several. Are you talking for the corn operated machines?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get you a list, but I don't have that with me.
I think Chief too, like, I thought that those were legal, so I guess the circumstances, like, is it that they were not?
Either
were in the
not
back
registered or they,
or-
there's a certain number that they can have, or, you know, I don't know all the particulars about that.
And the holiday spa code violation, I know they are, so we had a conditional, they basically violated the conditional. Yeah,
Conditional use permit.
and that's, I really have concern about it, but we'll talk about it a little bit more later on. Could you also tell me when are we going to start the city center, or when it's going to be finished? Is there any estimation,
Oh,
or anybody else? Because I have several residents ask me about it, that when are you going to start, when are you going to finish it, and they wanted to know.
It's a great question. It's really dependent upon the starting point is when we get the land disturbance permit. Once we get the disturbance permit, we get the pricing in, we order the materials. In a perfect world, our general contractor has said it's about a 14-month construction project, but it's from the point of start. And so where we sit today, if I'm building in a buffer for county, the approvals, getting all the equipment on site again, inside of 18 months, hopefully a number of months earlier than that. But if we're talking about timelines, we have to be realistic that we can't control the weather. We can't control what happens as soil moves. If there's any issues, once you start moving dirt, this is the time the project runs into obstacles that have to be overcome. If everything runs smooth, it'll be a lot quicker. The moment we get the LDP, the land disturbance permit, we will be celebrating. Choate will be back on site within a few weeks. We've been promised. They can't wait to get going. The dirt, just to give you a timeline of understanding, it's a solid 3 months of grading, which means moving the dirt from one side to the other to set up the road grid that we're putting in to prepare the site for construction. That's the horizontal development side. So if we're really just talking a timeline, 16 to 18 months from today, let's hope it's 14 months. That's the hope. That's what we're targeting. We want to move as fast as possible, but within reason. Again, the weather can wreak havoc on this. But we've got a team at the table ready to take this on, and we're excited.
We're able to get the pricing and all that stuff taken care of as we're sitting here waiting too, so.
So to give you an idea on the pricing, as these GMP, the guaranteed max price plans are out for bid, according to Choate, our general contractor, it's a 3 to 4 week period to get the subs, get the bids in, to scrub the bids, to look at the pricing so we can lock down the costs on the deal. The term buyout or locking in the subs. The expectation is we'll be ready to go when we have the land disturbance permit. Great. And that's what we're pushing towards, and that's our commitment.
Awesome, thank you.
You got it.
No question.
Councilmember Evans?
Oh, thanks, Mayor. Thank you, Chief, for the presentation. Couple questions on the items. The summer interns, is it open to all DeKalb schools, or is it just like specifically our schools?
I think we just focus on Cross Keys.
Cross Keys?
We have in the past.
Okay.
We've had kids from other
Druid
schools,
Hills.
so, yeah.
And Druid Hills has participated. I'll get with HR and find out what schools we're targeting.
Okay.
But I know that we have, Cross Keys mainly, and then I think Druid Hills has been a part of it also.
Okay. And then the Bernard Halpern Park, I know there was talks of possibly improving the area, I guess it's like the detention pond there. It's kind of like a mosquito trap. Is there still talks of improving that area or extending the basketball court or a rain garden? These were talks about a year ago, so I'd just check in on that.
I have not been involved in that, but I will get with staff and find out, if there's something that we can do to handle that.
What about the lighting there?
Yeah, Chris has been working on the lighting, waiting on Georgia Power. Um,
City's motto.
yeah, so,
Well, I'll talk about Georgia DOT. I see that they're working in the area pretty extensively off of Flowers Road. Any updates on the progress or what they're working on there? Is that
That-
okay. Gotcha. And then, are we fully staffed in PD and code enforcement right now?
code enforcement, no. PD is fully staffed.
Awesome.
We had a records clerk leave, but we were able to make a hire and that filled us.
Nice.
with-
Congrats. And the spa, are they actually paying the citations that they're being issued?
I believe it hadn't gone to court yet.
That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Simmons?
Thanks, Mayor. Few things. Lotus Grove, can we just stay focused on them? I see they're trying to resubmit, where was it? Resubmit updated site and building plans just after how they've been. I mean, I'm sure we're super focused on them, but Austin Chief, yeah. Let's go with the newsletter. This is the one that we're actually mailing out, that newsletter?
Yes, physical.
Okay. And when do we think it's going to go out? Within the next week or so, or no? You don't know?
I don't.
Okay. And I was going to say add healthy pets. And with that, I want to make sure we're blasting out communication stuff, just to reiterate healthy pets on February 28th, 10 to 1, and all volunteers, and help guide them to the link for volunteers. And let's see, the assessment was my other one. And other than that, I guess just for all those Saturday Night Live fans back in the 90s, El Nino is Spanish for the Nino. You don't remember.
All right, Councilmember Armistead?
Thank you. Chief, I know I mentioned this to you before, but it seems hard for us to believe that people wouldn't know that the old downtown buildings are gone, but I've heard of a few people driving up to go to the library and saying, where is it? So I'm wondering, and I didn't see any signage pointing people here. But if there isn't any, could we put some on the fencing or something?
I understand that we had signage and we had to take it down for some reason.
Oh,
And
okay.
The library sign that was sent, Crystal Fuller and the public works staff were going to take that down.
Oh, great. Okay.
So that people didn't confuse that the library is still there. So still working on trying to figure out the signage. We were going to put it on the digital sign, which is on the New Peachtree side. So that side will be taken care of, but we'll have to deal with the Beaufort Highway side.
Councilmember Ray?
Yeah, thank you. I guess first you mentioned the date for the El Nino Day and I didn't quite catch it. What was that?
April 29th.
April. Yeah, I thought you said October. I was like, you're giving us a big heads up on that. Thank you. Okay, and then before the other two things, this holiday spa, this isn't their first time getting these citations, right?
We've dealt with them.
Okay, so this might be a Cecil question as well, but is there a point where after a certain time of violating the CUP, they lose it? Okay,
They could potentially lose their business license.
that's what I'm trying to get at.
It's
Yeah.
got to be an administrative process after they lose their court case.
Understood. Okay. So that's that. And then a couple things you didn't touch on that I'm kind of excited about. The packet mentioned that the path plans are at 100% and going to be going out to bid. I'm very excited about that, but I'm also kind of confused on funding for it. Do we have the funding to start that once we get the bid, or is it like we get the bid and then we start trying to find the funding?
So y'all actually approved the construction documents and the cost estimate a couple weeks ago. So the last step is, now that we have those, we have the actual easement area that we'll need from the county. So on next week's agenda is the final easement package that we'll need to send to the school district to have recorded so that we can, for the temporary construction easement and then with the permanent easement where the trail's going to go. Once all that is in process, yeah, we'll work on getting the plans out to bid. We do have, cost estimate from PATH was 2.2 with a 20% contingency, 2.2 million. We have 1.57 million from HUD. So there is a gap there, but we don't know what the bids are going to come back. So probably won't be lower, but hopefully it won't be much higher than the cost estimate PATH gave us. But part of our contract with PATH is construction management. So I don't have exact dates, but because we're close.
Awesome. That's very exciting. Feel free to copy me on any emails so I can stay excited. But that's great.
One thing too, like I just wanted to point out for council, like having this planning done helps us when like a congressman comes to our city and says, hey, I'm looking for projects that I can put in the appropriations budget and then get the city $1 million to fund it. So kind of supporting this stuff.
The money from HUD was one of those applications to OSOP. So
yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for clearing that. I didn't mean to sound like we shouldn't have done that if we didn't have the funding. I'm just very excited about it and wanted to.
For everybody to.
Yes, that's awesome. And then this will actually probably dovetail nicely into something Councilmember Henshaw is going to bring up later. But I saw that the safety action plan, you all are prioritizing some projects. I'm not asking what those are yet, but do you know when you might be presenting those to council? Okay. Fair enough. All right. That's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. All right. Actually, Chief, I guess you and Chris are up next on this speed study update.
Okay, Mayor and Council, some time ago, myself, Chris LaFleur, and our former Assistant City Manager, Crystal Dawson, got together and we identified some streets where we wanted to do some speed studies to see in different areas of the city to see what we could determine from these speed studies. And the roads that we did were various neighborhood streets. We did one on Addison, we did one on Chestnut, and we did one on English Oak. And I'll go through the slides okay. While we conducted the studies, obviously we have neighborhood concerns, resident concerns, and we wanted to be able to put some data along with those to those concerns. Here's the Chestnut Drive speed study that we did, Chestnut and between near McClave. We did it from September the 3rd to the 12th. The posted speed limit is 35, and we had 25,000 vehicles come through there. And there was less than 1% of enforceable violations. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we're not saying that cars aren't speeding. There's a difference between 35 and 45, and that's a noticeable difference. But as far as law enforcement, we're not able to enforce that. All right, until they reach a certain speed, we're not able to enforce that. And I want to point out another point. There is the fastest speed recorded, 73. As I've mentioned before, when we've talked about this, when you have an outlier like that, that's probably the police. We're going somewhere. All right, that's not always, and I can't 100% definitively say that was us, but what we've seen is when you have an outlier like that, that is us. So that is our Chestnut Drive, one of our Chestnut Drive studies. Here's the other one at Chestnut and Raymond. We had 22,000 vehicles come by there at the end September to October. And again, we had less than 1% enforceable violations out of 22,000 vehicles that passed by there. English Oak is another one. that we checked, that speed limit is 25 miles an hour. And at that location, we had 3% enforceable violations. And that fastest speed on that is not, although it's not listed, was 71 on English Oak. We checked Addison Drive also, Addison down near Wheeler, out of 3,000 vehicles, roughly 5% were enforceable violations. Okay, and so what the data tells us is that there possibly is speeding, but it's not systemic to the point where we are able to do enforcement operations out there on it. So, you know, there's a perception that you know, there's a lot of cars speeding. As far as enforceable, that's not what the data is showing us. And why people feel unsafe, obviously, perception is a big thing. But however, if you're out there walking and a car comes by you, that's reality. Okay. And if you feel like you step out into a crosswalk, that car is not going to be able to stop. Okay. So we understand that. And how we can combat that in several ways. More speed signs. They've been proven to reduce speeds. So we have a couple that we put out in various locations throughout the city and try to keep the speeds down. Or another method is to mark the ground and hope that will slow some speeds down. And another method that Chris LaFleur mentioned is the hit sticks. And we had talked about this on Chestnut in between Aztec and the Unity Garden. That road is wide enough that, you know, we could put some in the middle, possibly some on the edge, and hopefully, you know, that alone would make people slow down to get through there. That's all I have. Ask Chris, do you have any more data or any more to offer? If you have any questions, you know, we'll answer as best we can. But right now the data is not showing that we have a systemic speeding problem.
I think I think every council member will have their own opinion. I think that more than just, you know, systemic speeding, because it only takes one speeder, right, to kill somebody or cause some awful harm. I think to some extent, a lot of this is just the way that our roads were built and kind of built to allow people to feel like, oh, I've got to speed up or whatever. I do, you know, we got emails about Stewart Road and the complaints about the cars on the side. But also say that slows traffic down, you know, like I think that, you know, as we're thinking through what are the solutions, you know, yeah, it's things that make it more difficult to drive are what slow traffic down. And, you know, those are some of the things that, you know, then get ripped apart when they do get put in because, you know, the person doesn't like having to go around something. I kind of like the idea for Chestnut with the, you know, maybe trying something that is not going to damage cars, but will maybe make people slow down because they don't want to hit those. You know, we heard about the wheelies or the donuts in McClave and Raymond. I live right by Addison and Raymond, and the same thing happened there was been a while now, but the person who did that, I'm almost positive lives in our neighborhood. But, I don't know for sure. I can't send anyone down to talk to them, but, I do think that, and to Angela's point, maybe things that do kind of make people drive a little bit slower, make a difference. I would say if we do any more, of the roundabout type things, what I would recommend is that we do rather than asking people if they like it or not, because, it was like a toss up 50-50. Oh, yes, no. What was average speed before? What was average speed afterwards? And was there a noticeable difference? And I think to me, that's a more meaningful metric as I've thought about it than, if people like it or not, because anything you do is, half the people are going to say, I liked it the old way. Half the people, I like it the new way. So, just what can we do to slow down traffic that's coming through neighborhoods? In some of the places where there have been a lot of accidents, maybe like that particular area on Addison, maybe there's a way to use these raised things also to just get people to look. I think part of the thing is they're driving too fast at night. They're not aware that there's going to be a turn and they, flip over. So anyway, those are some of my initial thoughts, but I just think, for the council, as we're kind of going through this stuff, I think those are things for us to be thinking about. It's what will slow down traffic. Police have a high bar for what they can enforce. 46 on some of these streets probably is a little bit too fast.
Absolutely.
So I think it becomes incumbent on us. Okay, well, how do we build our streets and how do we start modifying them as time goes on to accommodate the kind of driving that we want to see? Councilmember Ray.
Yeah, thank you. I've got a lot of thoughts on this. First of all, thank you for doing the data and the research here. I think this is great. One of the main complaints I heard when I got the chance to run for the seat was just traffic and speeding. I agree with the mayor that, the perception is there, and a lot of times perception's reality, and it does just take one. It's also impossible for us to do this study on every one of our roads, and our residential roads feel narrow when you get a car parked on the side, but when there's not a car parked there, it does feel wide. And when you have a wide road, drivers psychologically feel safer driving quickly. I think we've got a really, really great opportunity here to play around with different ideas for our street design in the future. In my opinion, kind of the crown jewel of micromobility is a separated multi-use path that people can use for bikes and walking to get around the city. The problem with that is they're expensive to make. You've got to have the land for it, you got to pave it. What we have a chance to do here is narrow roads and use these, plastic bollards or however else to create bike lanes. I would really like to consider that along the roads. If we're thinking about putting it in the center, can we just restripe the road to the side and have a protected bike lane protected by these plastic bollards? Additionally, and there are caveats to this, it's not the full idea, but can we use this as a chance to beautify our neighborhoods and streets more? Can we do flower boxes that, going through the right scenarios, making sure it's not a hazard to drivers either, but to help plant, maybe taller trees or grasses or things along those lines that as people are driving, their sight line is going to be limited and they're naturally going to want to slow down. I also agree. I think, the public survey is good and I'm fine having that to find out if people like or hate it, but it's going to be 50-50 because people who speed are not going to like the new things and the people who don't speed are going to like them. So finding, more analytical ways to say this, what is our desired result? Is it slower cars? Is it more people riding bikes around the city? Is it X, Y, and Z? And then, actually capturing that. I'd also say, I think anything we can try, any crazy ideas you come across, there's a lot of kind of studies out there for different things, but I personally don't think it's the best use of our budget to have police officers planted on a road in a neighborhood hoping to find someone speeding. They've got enough going on. I don't know that it's fun to live in a neighborhood where your only recourse is hoping that a cop is there to enforce the rules. I think we need to start trying to figure out how to set up our streets in our neighborhoods where it's self-enforceable, just because people aren't going to want to put themselves in danger to speed down. So, not that this was really put out there, but if you want somebody to bounce ideas off of or come up with other things, and feel free to reach out to me, because I think this is a really great opportunity to kind of reimagine how we get around our neighborhoods and how we keep everyone safe. So thank you again for this. And yeah, those are my thoughts.
I just wanted to piggyback on what Councilmember Ray said, because long time ago when I was a council member, I had suggested that we look at modifying Chestnut to have a bike lane along there's one stretch of it basically kind of adjacent to where Councilmember Nasser lives, where there's barely any curb cuts. It's all just open. So if you're looking at where to make a bike lane, I mean, that would be a really good side of the road to do it and have it come down. And I do think kind of narrowing the road, maybe putting planters with some trees would make a difference in terms of how people feel. And it seems like potentially that's something that we could do for not that much money as a trial run. If we were, Decatur did these plant pots in the road for 10 years, I mean, I think, yeah. So, I mean, I think we could maybe look at something like that.
It's also, just to throw that in, it's also it being a temporary measure lets us know if it's working, and we don't have to put up all this money up front to pour concrete, find out it doesn't work, and then bust up those again. So
But what I would want to do for any of these kind of temporary things that we're looking at, let's do a study before, immediately before and immediately after, to see what did it actually do, because I feel like that was the missing piece with the last one that we did. Councilmember Armistead.
Thank you. I'd be curious to know, not that I want you to do another study, but I'd be curious to know if the one on Chestnut and McClave would have changed at all after we put in those painted crosswalks. If people slow down to, I don't know, admire them before they stop at the
Hey,
stop
there's
sign.
something different here.
Yeah. Thought.
I'm not sure. I mean, we can do another one.
Oh, no, no, no.
I mean, we can go anywhere.
Just curious, but I like that ideas like that where you're just putting more, I mean, you don't want to distract your drivers, obviously, but just more visual interest, more reasons for people to slow down and pay attention and realize that they're in a neighborhood where people care about speed. I love what did you call them? Hit sticks. I love that idea for Chestnut. I think we should definitely try that if it's feasible. I'm wondering about just plain old stop signs, like along English Oak is a place I've been asked a lot. That stretch between Buford Highway and English Oak Park. There are opportunities, I would think, to put stop signs there, and they're even cheaper than stencils, from what Chris LaFleur said.
We have one down at Moss Oak.
Oh, there is one. Okay.
Stop sign there. The only other location, I think, probably Darlington, we could put a stop sign, if it's at an intersection.
Possibly the other intersection that comes to mind on English Oak is Windsor Oak. And there's actually that's a school bus stop at that intersection. We actually thought about that as well when we were doing the study. So there are opportunities on English Oak for sure.
Okay. And also, I know we talked at some point about the lighted stop signs for certain intersections where we have issues. I don't know what those would be off the top of my head, but is that still, I know those aren't as cheap as the regular ones.
Yeah, they're not as cheap. It's just a matter of buying them and installing them. A road I remember the last time we discussed the flashing stop signs, I think that was during the residential traffic calming, and because of certain roads, that particular program, it doesn't necessarily qualify. So if we use Chestnut Drive as an example, if we get the direction and say, hey, we want to put flashing stop signs out there, we can do that. We just can't do it through that program, if that makes sense. Because I know a lot of people, they ask, well, why are we applying if you can't do it? It's simply just because it's a collector road. But if we get that direction from you all, it's budgeted, we have the money, we'll put it up.
Thank you.
Councilmember Simmons?
Thanks, Mayor. I guess, Chris, while you're up here on those sparkling stop signs, let's say, they're solar powered, I'm assuming?
They are
All
solar
right,
powered.
cool.
Yeah.
Chief, I got to know, the cost of this speed study is just our police time? There's no third party or anything like that for the cost of the speed study you guys are doing?
We put out a device
Right.
and then we go pick it up
Okay.
and then we download the information.
I was just being curious. I wanted to know.
It's very minimal.
Okay. And then, yeah, I like those delineator sticks, the hit sticks. I wish we could put some at Hightower in that middle so people don't cross over the double line into take kids there and whatnot. So, of course, we'll have to vote on everything in the future, but that is one place I'd like to see them if we could.
That is something that we've been working on for the last 2 years, part of our traffic plan for Hightower. And while we're out there, everything goes smooth.
Right. As soon as you leave.
As soon as we leave, they start turning left again because our traffic plan there was no left turn in and only a right turn out.
But that would be perfect if you stuck them roughly from there all the way back past that entrance and exit, then it's fine. But I just wanted to mention that. And then I know in our budget, we pass some money for the removable raised speed bumps, I believe. Carrie and Chris, didn't we put in something for that? So Chris LaFleur, are we looking into that? I think we put some money in the budget. If you didn't know about it, we did. You can look into something like that where we can go stick them on a certain street and get data before, stick them down, see if it works. It's sort of just a movable speed bump in a
I'm
sense.
familiar with it. They are movable. They're not fun because you drill them into the road.
Yeah.
You're kind of poking holes in the road, and then if you remove it, you're allowing the water to come in. It's a whole thing. But
yeah.
Ideally, stuff like that, I think, you could use it to try to collect data, but really you'd want to just kind of install something that you want to keep out there.
Well, no, it'd be great if it works. We'll leave it. But I'm just
Ideally,
saying,
that's what I'm not a big fan of, just putting it out there just to get data and then pull it out. That's just my opinion.
No, that's fine. I'm fine with leaving it for all I care. I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
And just when you drill the holes, put some epoxy and some
Yeah, it's
silicone
really
and
just
put it there, and you're
identifying
good.
the right location where you want to put it. But if I
Right.
use a good example, Addison Drive has come up several times. We have speed tables on Addison Drive that technically are more effective than these, the temporary ones.
Mhm.
And we're still hearing that people are speeding. So that's where
I will say though that there's something different about the speed tables on Addison versus like the ones on Tilly Mill.
Yeah,
Tilly Mill, everybody has to slow down. You drive very slow on that street. The Addison ones are very people speed over them. So I mean, whatever we did on Addison was not as effective as the other one.
You said the one on Tilly Mill?
The ones right behind Tower. There's two of them. I mean, I've heard millions of complaints of why they're in, but it's real nice. People used to speed down that road constantly. Maybe they're becoming more aware, or maybe there used to not be a stop sign, I think, at Tilly Mill and Woodwind, or did it always be there? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's been people slow down a lot.
yeah, no, it's drastic. It is great and it's nice, but they do work. Maybe it's the angle and the height. We can just go.
Could be.
Just get out there and measure, But no, I just wanted to mention that about those speed bumps. I mean, I'm not.
We could definitely get them.
We just want to see if it works. If it works, I'm all for something permanent if we can get in our budget, because that's that's what we're trying to do with the budget. With the speed bumps, if we go try these speed bumps wherever we pick, or they recommend Addison, wherever the street is, we try it. If it works with the data, then make a permanent one. I'm totally fine with that, because that's sort of why we're doing it.
I've got an idea. I'll share it with you.
I mean, unless we try it, we're not going to know. So do your thing. And then, I mean, I don't know what it is. We haven't done anything on Doral, but I really haven't seen many speeders. I don't know if you can say. I really haven't seen as much as it used to be. I mean, it could just be the people that used to live around there going through.
Out.
Yeah, so whoever it was, just check the data, chief, but it's not as bad as it was. I used to cruise around that curve and it hasn't been as noticeable. Not saying it doesn't happen, it hasn't been as noticeable. So I hope whoever was doing it is not watching. That's all. Thanks.
Guarantee they're not. Councilmember Evans.
Thanks, Mayor. I know this is great. Thank you for the data. And I like the number 3 with the visual narrowing, calming. But I also want to ask about Homeland Drive. And I get a lot of complaints over there too of people speeding past the traffic light where the turning radius was. And to the mayor's point, it was 50-50. But the same ones that work on Tilly Mill, I think could work there too. There is a speed bump there, but they just blow right past it. And there's a lot of people walking just like on Addison. So that's another street we could look at for like a speed table or a taller speed bump. Okay, that'd be helpful. That's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Nasser.
Thank you for the study. I appreciate it. I really like to see on a Chestnut, since the speed is so high on Chestnut, anything that we can do where the community garden is. Maybe we can do a I would say roundabout as a study for the whole city. Maybe I'm not sure how everybody's will feel about it. It's a good spot to put a roundabout, so people who coming through the Chestnut or Wheeler or Edison, they got to stop or they got to slow their speed.
That curb intersection.
Yeah, and it's enough space out there too.
That area, I think there was an issue with the spacing when we did the temporary roundabouts. That was actually a section that we looked at initially, and then we ended up doing it. I can't remember now. I think it was Raymond and McClave. Yeah, it was a matter of space.
You need a ridiculous amount of space to build one.
So I don't know what else we can do to slow the speed. Chestnut, I see people flying all day long. And I'm sure we have Chestnut, we have McClave, then Stewart Road.
What do you think about the idea of narrowing the road with those spikes, creating a bike lane?
People who speed, they will speed. Just like Oak Cliff Road, previously when we narrow the road, we put some stuff in it in the middle of the road, but people still ran over it. And then we have to spend more money to fix that road. Right?
I remember that.
Yeah, we spent millions of dollars thousands of dollars to fix it. We spent to improve it, then we had to break it down.
I do remember that. I would say there's more to that story just because it wasn't a fully complete project. That was just like a phase and then they just stopped. I don't know why, but I do remember that.
Right. I mean, I like to spend our money wisely. Okay, whatever it works.
Remember, I can also say like part of the idea here and what they're bringing to us are ideas that are less expensive that the city can try without investing $1 million in infrastructure. So the idea is like, do something small, see if it works. If it works, you can build it more permanently.
I mean, sure. I mean, anything helps the neighborhood. Anything helps the neighborhood. I'm for it. Whatever it is. Thank you. I also have one more thing. I know someone always they do donuts in the church. That was next to Chestnut and Pineland. They go to the church parking lot. They do donuts. I have called police department multiple times because I can see it through my window right there. I believe people previously got arrested, but people do that. Still, the church is a hot area. They do it there, and also Wheeler, and where Chestnut and Wheeler meets basically. That where I'm thinking about putting a roundabout, which is not going to be that can be done. So that's where also some people they do donuts, and then McClave and where Beeford Highway meets that area. These are the areas. These are hot spot, and one more spot that I know that is Stewart and Pineland, where you go to the school. There are so many people. I don't know where they come from, but I'm not sure they do live in the city or somewhere. They just come and do the donuts.
Got those, and we will go back and see what we can find. I will say that, we had a little lull in the street racers. It seems like they have picked back up. We had over 100 vehicles in the Brand Smart parking lot recently. We had some intelligence come in that they were going to have a meetup. And this was even prior to the meetup. They weren't doing anything, but it was that crowd. So it is picking back up. So we'll take a look at it.
I appreciate it. Thank you. One last, if possible, we can probably, I believe I spoke to you before, if we can patrol the officer a little more in the neighborhood, that'll help to catch the speeder. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for your attention.
All right, Councilmember Henshaw.
I want to start off by saying I'm in the wrong business at $3,500 to $7,000 for an LED sign with a Raspberry Pi in it. Man, I need to start a company doing that. Is there any update on Stewart? There have been a number of complaints, but or is there an actionable plan in place for the street parking that's on Stewart and the difficulties it's causing?
We went out and addressed that. Okay. And the apartment complex has had that issue for a while. And so once we were able to address it, our officers went out and the apartment complex sent a message. And obviously we're going to have to continue to monitor it. But one vehicle was out there and it got moved. So hoping that we're able to address it. It'll work for a while and then they'll come back out and then we'll have to continue to address it.
I know a number of years ago, we sort of set I don't know if it was a formal policy, but the idea of we just didn't want to overburden our neighborhoods with a ton of signage for no parking. And, it's very difficult to convey no parking well. They go look up the ordinance online. You can't do that for the average driver. So, we made a decision to not have no parking signs on a majority of our streets, but where there are sort of gross infractions and apartment buildings, would it be appropriate to look at putting no parking signs?
We can look at that.
And maybe that's a council needs to weigh in on.
From what I remember, Stewart Road, you can park on the west side. You can't park on the east side. So technically, according to our ordinance, they can park there. Now, if it's creating a hazardous condition, which that was, we can take some action. Yeah. So putting a sign up on that side, we would need
I think it probably bears maybe a bigger discussion too, because this is, you're gonna have more development, more growth. And what do we want the streets to look like and how do we accommodate it?
Yeah.
Especially with the schools going in as well. There's gonna be a lot of students that are parking in neighborhoods potentially, and that could be problematic with just consistency there. Enforcement is going to be challenging. So thank you for that. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'd say put the traffic circles back, put permanent ones in where there were non-permanent ones. I liked them. I thought they worked well. If people can do donuts, they're going to do donuts. They do them in the park, the grass lot across the street from my house all the time. You come out and they're torn up in the grass. Kids are kids. They're going to do what they're going to do. But yeah, anywhere we can prevent that from happening, I say put those back. I'd love a proposal to see what permanent ones would look like with a nice cherry tree in the middle of it, whatever it winds up being. The hit sticks, they get torn out really quickly. I mean, $60 a post is great, but for every one you install, you got to have 3, in the shed.
We talked about,
yeah. So it's really $180 a piece, because they get damaged. Maybe somebody can refresh my memory, but it's been a while. But when Rebecca and I brought forward the Hawk Crossing stuff, which actually started with a conversation that I'd had with Nasser a number of years ago. But when we put that in place and we talked about, narrowing down the Chestnut through striping, and they did, they striped the road and then they had to go back and rip the striping up because they didn't narrow it enough. But we had originally, at least my intention was originally to have, as Councilmember Ray had said, a bike lane on one side. So we basically shifted everything over, and that never happened. And it was an internal decision, or maybe that was the company had looked at that, but, you know, I don't know what, I imagine the striping is probably pretty okay on Chestnut compared to the other roads because it's been done more recently. But, you know, I would very much entertain that concept throughout the city. It is a low cost way of adding multi-use paths. You know, for people, we don't have the budget for sidewalks, and sidewalks, yes, that would obviously fix everything and make it safer. Then people can park on the streets and we don't have these issues, but we just don't have that kind of money. So the hit sticks could be great. I'm personally, I'm a fan of just putting them along one side, widening it out, restriping, you know, making a bidirectional, but you know, multi-use path, and narrowing the roads at the same time is kind of a two birds, one stone. And I'll say that, you know, my kid goes to the park, play in the playground, and we see a lot of people running stop signs. A lot, I'd say it's more distracted driving that's dangerous than it is speeding, or speeding combined with distracted driving. We all know the taxi drivers are huge offenders of it. They're constantly looking down at their phones for the next fare. And I don't have a solution for it. And I'm just, to the people that are here and listening, I'm as frustrated by it as you are. It's really challenging. I don't have a good solution other than get off your phones and pay attention to what you're doing. And you know, with additional officers in the neighborhood, I do see them out there from time to time, and they pull people over, and they, you know, it does work. I also see people blow through stop signs like they aren't even there, and it happens all the time. So until the reader stop signs go from $3,500 to $35, and they can actually, you know, take tickets and enforce, I don't think we're going to get anywhere with that. But it's really frustrating. I'm as frustrated with everybody else. But I would entertain looking at permanent traffic circles as well as road narrowing conditions. And yeah, the speed bumps on Addison's they're more like a challenge to see how fast you can go over them rather than an actual calming device. Especially the buses and the Amazon trucks are very, very good at going over them very rapidly. So yeah, if in future, if we do go with the speed tables, that the bigger product that's on Tilly Mill definitely seems to work better than the smaller product. I would caution, however, that the city make sure they're adequately designed to allow water to go around them. But yeah, so that's, but yeah, I appreciate the continued effort, you know, with it. It's a very, it seems like low hanging fruit, but everything you do by the linear foot just adds up when you're building it throughout a city. So it's whatever we can do to keep plugging away. And now that we have, you know, full officers, just keep them out on the roads as much as possible. And even if they're doing paperwork, people see a police car and they tend to slow down. They tend to pay a little bit more attention. They tend to put their seatbelt on. And I would also say another area of focus, and I mentioned briefly, would be around the parks where our kids are playing. So anywhere where there's playgrounds, if there's stop signs that are near there, if there's crosswalks near there, let's figure out what we can do to calm specifically in those areas. And maybe it's more fencing along the street edge to keep the smaller kids from potentially wandering into the streets, or maybe it's blinking stop signs there during hours that kids would be playing on the playground, just to call extra attention to the stop sign. Because at the top of Autumn Park, I've seen every third car runs that stop sign, or at least, you know, kind of slows down and then, you know, flies through. So I worry more about that with the kids there than elsewhere. So that'd be it. Thanks.
All right. And Chief, I guess like I was driving to the MARTA station yesterday, and maybe I was actually driving here today, and I saw that there was a speed sign on Shallowford by the elementary school. Did we put that up? That's new though, right? Like that wasn't up.
Go ahead. We put up the school zone and we put up speed signs at that time. I
Yeah.
don't know if-
Yeah, those, if it's a sign that I'm thinking about, I think it's the same one that
It looked like a
you flip
temporary
around,
sign,
and you can
yeah.
kind of just move it around as needed. So yes, your sign.
Okay.
It should be like number one right there. Is that what you were?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah.
That's our sign, and we move it around.
Do we just have one of those?
We have two of them.
I guess, you know, we didn't really, no one talked about it. I do think those are good ideas. Like, and probably in the next budget, we should
Triple down.
like actually just put them in some places where where we've gotten lots of complaints.
And just to that point, that's kind of why we threw that in there as the number one. That one is proven to actually really help reduce. And the one that no shade to the ones that we have right now, but they are kind of used and we just move them around. If we want to put something out just as a more permanent situation, I think
we should just get the pricing. I suggest putting together a proposal for pricing for, some, 4 or 5 in different parts of the city, and let's see how those go. And I would still do a speed study before and after. I guess the other part I want to ask you guys, okay, you got some feedback from the council. Is the next step, like, you're going to come back to a work session for us with maybe some suggestions for, hey, these are what we would like to,
I can do that if you'd like. I mean, I was hoping that the city was just going to be my canvas and I was going to grab some stuff and go wild. But but yeah, I could definitely do that for sure.
Yeah, I think if we, like, maybe in 1 or 2 months, if you can come back to us with maybe a few kind of suggestions based off of the feedback that you heard from the council.
For sure.
Okay, great. Yes.
Sorry, one last thing. And to be clear, my preference is still the micro mobility and bike lanes and stuff, but just of all the levers we can pull, do we get any control over the speed limit on our roads? So like, because the problem is the police can't enforce up to a certain number, right? And so if it's 35, you can't enforce till it's 46. So if you could drop that road to 25, now you can enforce at 36, I would assume. I don't know how all the rules work.
Member O'Connor knows about that, right?
We can drop it
Okay.
on city streets,
Okay.
but we can't enforce.
Wonderful. That's helpful.
So we've gone through that before.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we're leaving no stone unturned. So thank you.
Yeah.
We had
DOT.
to raise our speed limit up when I got elected to 35 everywhere because we weren't able to enforce any traffic speeding on those streets.
Yeah.
All those small government politicians up there. That's great. All right. Thank you.
Hang on. Right. That's one. So wait, you can lower to 25, but you can't enforce it until they hit 46 because it was 35 or?
Can't enforce it at all.
If we put a sign out that says 25, we're not able to enforce it. If we make the decision.
Okay. I was trying to see what you were stating there.
We have to convince GDOT.
GDOT doesn't use a radar on a street that they say should be 35 or above.
But on city streets.
If we go to GDOT now and say, we want to change the speed limit on Oak Cliff Road from whatever to 25, they're going to come out and they're going to do their own speed study.
Yeah.
And they'll say, okay, we agree that it warrants it changing to 25. Or they're going to say, based on our data, speed limit of 35 is appropriate.
And
whatever the case might be.
Same with Addison or Doral or any street.
All of them.
Okay. Okay. I got it. We're at the hands of GDOT on what they say is what we can enforce. Okay. I got you. Thank you.
With the radar. Anything else? All right. Thank you, guys. And Chief, got you on here again. Thank you.
And Mayor and Council, if you'll recall previously, based on the annexations, we had a suggestion come from the legislature that due to the population imbalance that was created, that we look at modifying our election districts. Based upon that, we contacted the state reapportionment office who will do those studies for us. They've come back with a study that balances the population and creates a map showing the new district with the balanced population. We presented that to Mayor and Council. We were instructed to move forward with implementing that. The methodology of implementing that is we amend our charter and we'll adopt the population study and the new maps. To amend your charter, you go through the Home Rule Act. It's a little more than adopting a typical ordinance. We will have to have a public hearing tonight. It'll come up next week. We'll have to have another public hearing. You can't waive first read on this one. We have to have both. But if everything is the will of the Mayor and Council, we have both public hearings, adopt this, it will be sent off. We will have amended our charter, the new districts equally divided and keep us in good compliance with the districting.
Okay, and we talked about this in depth last month. However, it would change District 2 so that it's south of Oak Cliff Road. Yeah, everything north of Oak Cliff Road goes into District 1 basically, and that would effectively align the population
They're very
within
close.
100 or
There's
so
a
people.
The reapportionment plan is a map that's a good visual.
Just for anyone who may want to speak to the public hearing, that's what it is. We're going to go to the public hearing first, I think.
I think what we do is have the public hearing. We'll bring it back next week, have another one, and then we can take action.
Right. All right, so I'll open up to members of the public, anyone in the council chambers who wishes to comment on this map, or anyone online who wishes to comment on this map. Please come up to the podium or raise your hand on Zoom. We'll go with people wishing to speak in favor first. Mr. Hart, I see your hand raised. Did you want to speak in favor? You can speak once you unmute. Mr. Hart?
No, I don't want to speak in favor of the thing. I think
What?
that
We'll close it in a second. So anyone else? Okay, we're going to close the portion for people wishing to speak in favor. Mr. Hart, you can speak against, and you can have up to 10 minutes to speak. Are you there?
I mean, I'm having a great deal of trouble with this Zoom meeting. Districts. And we go into two districts, and then they decided they were going to that either. Okay. And then we had an election where the were signed into law by the governor of Georgia until 10 months after the election. So not following the state law or the charter or you know, when the annex related to the Civil Rights Act, okay? Those people never got to vote on it. And I think we need to go back to 3 districts where there's 2 council people. Part of Oak Cliff, which is clearly a different district than District 1. Certainly won't follow this, whatever you vote on, because you never have in the past. Represents and why you never went to 5 members instead of 6. And I talked to the census guy and said, well, we're going to count everybody that's here, whether they're legal. So, you know, I think we need a little clarity on why you're doing it. To 2 districts, and why we don't have 5 council members instead of 6. I think all the
Are you still there, Mr. Hart?
see, I got a problem.
I think you're on a bad connection. It might be your internet. All right. Cecil, do we leave it open or can we close the public hearing? Yeah. So, Mr. Hart, I guess what I'll say is we have another public hearing next week. I encourage you to come in to City Hall if you want to be heard, because I think your internet connection is not very good. We did have another person on Zoom who was able to speak. You know, and you'll have another opportunity to talk to us, but I would encourage you to come in person. Anyone else wishing to speak against this item? Okay, we're gonna. I think. Does anyone in council have anything they want to say about this? Councilmember Henshaw?
Yeah, just for those that are following along at home, we're doing this because the districts were out of balance, and you know, we use I guess it's a state funded, state mandated agency to do this. We didn't select this map. This is not how we chose this. We just outsourced this to the company that does this professionally.
It's the fairest way to do it.
Yeah, and it's the fairest way to do it. But for those that don't understand, we can't just add new. We can't just redistrict the boundaries based on new buildings being built or based on any data other than census data. So even though we've had Lumen come online and we had El Camino come online, we know that there's new buildings that are built. We know that there's new housing stock. We cannot use those numbers that we know exist until they're officially counted in a census. So we may be doing this again if another annexation occurs, but we'll also be doing it again when the next census comes around. So those are kind of the only two times you get a chance to do this. So that's why the data is what it is. That's why the boundaries are the way the boundaries are. I just want to make that clear for people following along.
Anyone else have any comments? Councilmember Evans?
Comment question, probably for Cecil, but Oak Cliff Road delineates this proposed District 1 and 2, but at Oak Cliff Road, where does it begin and end? So on the left side, right side, is that District 1, District 2, or is it the entire street?
That was each side of the street.
When they're delineating the road is the dividing district, one would be in one district, the other side would be the other district. That is the dividing line.
Gotcha. That was my only question, but I also think we in the near future should go after that other annexation to get that Swiss cheese that's on the map.
Right. Anyone else? I'll just make one comment. I've lived in Doraville for close to a quarter of a century now, and we've had 6 council members and a mayor for that whole time. So I don't know where this 5 council member stuff was coming from. But anyway, we'll talk about this again next week, and people will have a chance to comment then. All right, we've got a few discussion items, starting off with Councilmember Henshaw.
Yeah, I'll make this fairly quick. We all have seen the pedestrian strike studies that were done, and Buford Highway is obviously a massive challenge for pedestrian safety. And I think Austin could probably speak at length to the evil. I'm not asking him to, but he could speak at length to the difficulties or evils of the way Buford Highway was designed, how wide it is. It's overcapacity by at least 200% in most locations. It's got way too many curb cuts, not enough traffic calming measures, not enough pedestrian safety measures. There's a huge room for improvement up and down Buford Highway. So my proposal, and this is not a short-term project by any stretch of the imagination, but it has happened in other cities throughout the United States, including cities in Georgia, where cities or groups of cities have managed to acquire ownership's not the right word, but the maintenance and design decisions on state routes that are owned by GDOT or whatever the other cities are. Lancaster, California is a great example of a city that took over their state road. We're able to narrow it down, add trees, add centerline parking, increase mid-block crossings, slow traffic down, increase pedestrian safety, and help revitalize their roads and revitalize the buildings around them very, very effectively. I won't say cheaply because it's not, but it is kind of vitally important if we want to redefine what Buford Highway is. It's already a cultural corridor. It's already a food corridor. It is not a safe corridor. As our downtown develops, and we look to start adding not just our downtown, but the surrounding private development, and we look to add thousands upon thousands of more residents, businesses, and trying to improve walkability and pedestrian viability. So my proposal is to ask for some staff time for them to look at what it would take to put a proposal together to begin talking to GDOT about acquiring Buford Highway, starting at the city border and ending at the city border. I'd also propose, and I've already spoken to one of the council members of Chamblee about this. They're interested in doing this. So my proposal is to work with Chamblee and potentially even Brookhaven. I have not broached Brookhaven yet, but to work with 2 or 3 jurisdictions to try to make this kind of a more of a complete project up and down the entire corridor. And then involve the Chamblee-Dorville CID as sort of a intermediary or a go-between. I've already spoken to them about it. They are interested. They've not committed any resources or time to it, but I would like a little bit of staff time so that I can sit down with potentially with the CID, as well as with maybe 1 or 2 council members in Chamblee and maybe their director of planning there as well, just to see if this is even a viable thing. But I envision, and I encourage people to go look at the project in Lancaster, California, and just see what can be done to improve pedestrian safety, to improve walkability, to improve even improve traffic, reduce congestion, reduce speeding, all through better street design. So that's sort of my ask is a little bit of staff time and the ability to go talk to a neighboring city and a neighboring and a CID that's involved with us.
Have you had any like high level discussions with Austin or anything?
Very, very high level. You know,
Would you
I don't think he's opposed to the idea. I think
you think it's
I
real?
think he hates
like a
Buford Highway as much as the rest of us from a design standpoint. I never promised you wouldn't get to talk. I just said I wasn't going to make you do it.
I guess I just want to understand, you know, he's asking for staff time. What do you think would be involved and what's the I think for council to make a decision, okay, well, sounds great to me, but I guess what is your investment in doing this?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I've never done this before. And I mean, the answer we're probably going to get immediately when we broach it with GDOT is no. But that might not be a forever no. But I imagine like this is going political very quickly. I mean, talking to the neighboring cities, but also political with GDOT. So it's probably not going to just end up being staff time. It's probably going to end up being elected official time as well. If we can even figure out if and when we figure out the parameters of what we're even talking.
Have you had any conversations about this idea with other cities?
Yes, actually, but because the example that I brought up and that most recently talked about is Thomasville, which is in South Georgia. Part of their main street used to be a state route, but they did this a long time ago. I think it was like the late 80s or early 90s, but they actually acquired that state route from GDOT and rerouted the state route around their downtown so that they could narrow their main street into what it is today. And I believe former Councilmember Kuntz has been to Thomasville and has seen what they've been able to do with that. So
I've been there. It's great.
Okay, great. Thanks. Well, we'll see what questions council has. We'll start with Councilmember Nasser.
Well, I think Buford Highway is a congested Buford Highway. It is serving 285 when all the traffic backs up or any emergency. If we had to narrow it down, or I mean, that's going to spill over the traffic to the city streets and Chestnuts and all the other stuff. And I'm not very supportive to it. Plus, it's going to be costly to the city. City have to repair this street one or another if we take it over from the GDOT. And it's a huge street. It's not few $100,000. It's gonna be millions of dollars we're gonna put it in. And that's not city like us. That's not feasible. That's economically, it wouldn't make sense at all. Thank you.
Councilmember Evans.
Can I address questions as they come up or wait until the end? Okay. Your second point is very valid. Like this is something the city could never afford to do on our own. It would require multi-cities to ask for federal funds. That would be the only way that something like this could occur. But there are precedents of cities obtaining large amounts of federal funds to help with projects like this. But you're right, it couldn't be done on our own. The first point, when we all remember when it was only a few years ago when 85 burnt down the bridge. GDOT, people used Buford Highway, and Buford Highway actually reached capacity for a total of, because we got the data, for a total of 3 days without 85 being functional. And then it went back to its current capacity like Waze and other apps like that are exceptionally good at rerouting people, and people are very good at learning new traffic patterns. Yes, there are, of course, emergency times when it would be problematic, but Chamblee did the same exact thing with Peachtree Road, right, where Chamblee, Dunwoody, and Peachtree Road come in, and they narrowed it down, and they have that center line crossing where all traffic stops for the crisscross, and they don't allow right turns on red, and it slows everything down. And people within a month adjusted in the traffic patterns, kind of figured it out, and now it's a much safer corridor. There's a lot more walkability there. They've got a lot more connectivity. It actually stimulated new restaurants and bars along that street. They've had a lot of growth and a lot less pedestrian incidents. So yes, there are challenges, but people do adapt and learn and grow and figure it out. So I wouldn't say that it is a problem, but I think it's a surmountable one given the right set of circumstances. The funding thing, that's why you have to get multiple cities involved and the CID involved. But
say, to your kind of like an unspoken part of this too, is that if it was Doraville right away, we would have more control over what Buford Highway ultimately looks like. And even if you don't immediately, narrow it
over time,
the city would still have a lot more control over, is there a bike lane? Is there, are there other things that GDOT is never going to do? Yeah. And I've sit on quarterly meetings a lot of the time with GDOT. I already know what the response will be, but I do think that, kind of these are interesting ideas to look at. I agree with Councilmember Nasser too, like maintaining that road would be a lot more expensive than others. These are things to think about. I guess this is like a preliminary conversation, so it's not, not, I don't think we're committing to anything right now by having a few conversations that, likely won't go anywhere, but you never, you never know until you start moving in that direction. Councilmember Simmons?
No, I mean, I'm fine with you doing that, but I think you really need to be with staff. I don't think staff's gonna have much pull. I think it's more council on that personally. So, I mean, I'm fine with it. It's how much time Austin has, because I think it's more a Austin and council deal than Austin staff
I guess
personally.
all I'm asking for is a few minutes with Austin and maybe one other planner, just to see what the bigger ask would be. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
See what it would
So if you want to sit with them, I'm fine with that. But yeah, I think it's more of us as council. I've sat in the meetings and all, and I understand it all and talked with some of the CID members about it. So, I mean, if you need help tag teaming it, going in front of GDOT people and all that, would be more than welcome.
I don't think you guys should be authorizing Councilmember Henshaw to go in front of GDOT.
No.
This is like a research
Oh,
thing.
research?
Somebody would like that.
He needs to research. And
I'm
then-
just saying
and
to
then
ask.
Come back to council. Here's our proposal.
Yeah.
And then if you guys decide we want to do something, then it's up to staff, and you probably want me to go and represent the city as.
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna need more of
uh,
us than
More
staff.
politics than.
And then, So yeah, funding's definitely huge. And I think, I mean, if you look at it, it's like what, 5 lanes on each side for Buford Highway? It's huge. I don't think we need 5 lanes on each side. I mean, that road can be narrowed, and I believe we've been asking GDOT for a while to narrow that road. So, they won't do it. So I think that needs to be done. And then you have the median. There's just so much you can do with it, and nothing's getting done except getting worse. So, I mean, I like the idea. And please do some research. And I think if we set the precedent, cities would follow suit, that connect to us, because there's so much can be done with that. So that's it. Thanks.
Councilmember Ray?
Yeah, I mean, flatly, I'm very much in favor of this. I think it's something that would entirely transform the city. We are building what's going to be a pretty incredible downtown, and right now the neighborhood that's closest to it probably can't walk there safely. So, maybe the answer is no, but I think on the whole, most of us would probably agree that the ideal scenario is that we would have the funding and an ability to shape that highway as we think would work best for our city. So maybe they'll say no, but let's find out why and get those reasons. To Austin's point, it's never at capacity. We have room for bike lanes. We could build out sidewalks. We talk about wanting to keep this a cultural corridor. Well, if we can get more foot traffic going to these restaurants, it's just going to help these small businesses succeed over time, I think. I'm very much in favor of it. And yeah, at least let's find out an answer and let me know if I can help in any way.
Not opposed with you talking to staff about it, but I think there's more due diligence maybe needed here, like possibly talking to Brookhaven, other council members in Chamblee and Brookhaven, and more of the why. Maybe it's something GDOT has plans for already. They just haven't told us yet. And I would prefer the conversation, if you get to that point, is what about a pedestrian bridge going across Buford Highway? If we're worried about not just taking less streets away, we do have I'm hoping to be a robust downtown for our new corridor. We may need those extra lanes in the near future, not sure. But outside of that, having a pedestrian bridge coming from the Northwoods area to the new downtown may be a different shift in perspective, and maybe thinking about the approach. And also funding, going after different grants, or maybe there's a conversation with Austin on possibilities of how does this get paid for. And also another consideration, are you talking about the entire Buford Highway in Doraville, or just a section within city center, or a smaller portion?
My goal would be all of Buford Highway from edge to edge, basically from North Doraville to South Brookhaven. Because at that point, and again, that's not a local lift, that's a federal lift. But that would be my ultimate goal, because it's not, to me, it's not just about getting pedestrians from Northwoods to the downtown. It's about all of the people that won't walk 100 feet up the street or down the street to cross at a crosswalk, and they'll run across the lanes with 2 kids in their arms pushing a stroller, wearing all black clothing at night, because there's no barriers in the middle of the street to prevent them from doing that. And if there was, or even refuge islands, just something to make it better. I've nearly hit a dozen people in my time here, and I'm an attentive driver. Yeah. I can understand why people are getting struck all the time when, again, we talk about distracted driving. So, I mean, to me, it's a massive ask, but it's one of those, like, if it's too small, you'll never get federal dollars. If it's really big, maybe you'll actually garner the attention of a senator who's like, wow, oh, I see they're actually really trying to do something. Maybe this is a poster child project for being able to get something unique done.
If you don't mind putting the bridge as part of the conversation, just
oh yeah,
as an alternative.
Yeah. And we talked about how to get people from Lotus Grove across Buford Highway as well, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
But yeah, to please talk to
Councilmember Armistead?
Thank you. Yeah, I think it would be a game changer if we could make it happen, and you don't find out unless you start asking questions. But I just feel like we can do amazing things on either side of Buford Highway up and down the length of the city, but there's still this void in the middle where we just can't affect any changes. So yeah, I'm all for looking into it.
I'm also in leadership DeKalb right now with one of the members of the Atlanta Regional Commission, and I kind of spoke with him briefly about this, and he was like, his eyes lit up, and he was like, "Ooh, that's interesting." So, I would also say, can I also reach out to the Atlanta Regional Commission? Or maybe start with staff, see where it goes, and then involve the CIDs and the regional commissions, and the other neighboring cities as well. But
Yeah, I'd probably go with the ARC after
Yeah.
you've got buy-in from council.
yeah, okay. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know. And Nasser, I know that there are crazy lifts. I mean, this is a 20-year project. This is not a short-term thing, and it's sort of Buford Highway is why I moved to Doraville. I mean, it's literally the reason I moved here. And I hate seeing it not living up to the potential that it could from a walkability and safety standpoint. That's really more than anything else of why I want to see this done. As much as I like driving a car, I could care less about slightly increasing traffic and people having to add 2 minutes to commute. If it saves one life a year, that makes me happy. So
Okay, well, I think you've gotten the consensus of the council, and this isn't like a decision. This is just giving you the authority to talk with Austin. Sure.
Actually, I'm not opposed to what I'm trying to say. The traffic nightmare is already horrible in Atlanta. Plus, Buford Highway right now, like before I come to the meeting, I was stuck in the traffic. I could not make turn to get where I need to come, right? But what I'm saying is, if we narrow it, it's gonna get horrible. But the thing is, for me, if we have a bridge, just like Peachtree Corner's got a bridge. So if we have a bridge, it'll be a lot better for us, people to cross over safely.
These are two different discussions though, because that's like more of a planning discussion. This is just, should we approach GDOT about taking it over? So I know there are a lot of ideas about what we should do on Buford Highway. We've got lots of plans for what we want to see on Buford Highway. I don't want to get bogged down in trying to revisit them all now. So I agree, like we do need to have like follow-up conversations about what that's going to be. But in terms of like keeping the meeting moving along, I want to say you've got the authority. Council's has a consensus. I think we're good to move forward with the streetlight discussion.
Austin, Java Saga on me.
Mayor and Council, this agenda item, we basically just want to have a discussion. I know that there has been some email traffic about where we want streetlights and where the need for streetlights are. So just want to hear your feedback so that we can develop a plan. Now, I think that there's two separate issues here that we need to be clear about. One issue is that there is money in the budget for solar streetlights. And it's my understanding, and Chris can correct me, is that we were going to identify some locations, and this probably would be like a pilot program. And then next year we possibly put more in. So that's one side of the equation. The other side is if we're going to add streetlights that Georgia Power would be putting in. So just want to hear your feedback on the streetlight issue, and go from there. See what we need to do.
I guess, in thinking about like what the impact is, yeah, it's easy to put in a street light. I think there's a cost, like an annual cost to each one though, right?
Yeah, so I reached out to Georgia Power. So if we were looking to install, say, a new light with a pole, it's about almost $1,900 for that install. If we're looking at an existing pole and you're just trying to install the light, it's still about $1,500 for the install. And then for each additional light, we pay $24 a month, I think, per light. So that's the additional cost that's the recurring cost for those lights. But I will say the conversation did spark, you know, it just kind of turned into a thing with Georgia Power. So we do have them doing a street light evaluation for the city currently. So we're trying to look at all the existing lights to try to upgrade them to LEDs, or the ones that aren't LED yet, to get them turned into LEDs. And that's at no cost. I just don't know exactly where all those locations are yet. But once I have it, I'll share
Our
it.
price should go down if they do that.
You would
since
think
they're-
though, but nah.
that actually benefits Georgia Power.
Right.
Uh, Chief, what about the lights on Beaufort Highway that we got that complaint about? Beaufort Highway, and was it just Norman, where you said they were kind of dim or?
Yeah, so they went out, they fixed them, they were fixed for a little while, and now it's just a small section that's fixed, and they have to come back out to fix the rest.
What, do we know what's going on with
I
that?
think something was hit. Yeah, I don't know if there was a recent accident or something like that, but that's what I was hearing from Georgia Power.
Well, I guess, you know, we'll hear from council. My preference, I know there's a lot of desire, need, but my preference would be to wherever we can put in solar lights, because, you know, then we're not adding to our operating costs every year. Or, you know, there's some marginal cost, I'm sure, but hopefully, you're not constantly paying for that. But, I think it would also be good to maybe have a way of prioritizing, you know, where the need is. Like if it's a neighborhood with tons of lights, maybe that's lower on the, this is just what I'm thinking, maybe a little bit lower than a neighborhood or area where it's really not a lot of lighting at all. And, you know, you can see, you know, maybe some of the annexed areas are pretty dark. So, that might be, in my mind, like the area that I would probably focus on, because I don't think they've gotten any kinds of improvements for a long time.
Is that on Aspen Commons? No. Okay. I was what came to mind when you said that, I think during the meetings that we had during the annexation, there was I can't remember her name, but she lived in Aspen Commons, and that is a neighborhood that has no streetlights at all. So to your point, we have one that's ready to deploy to test. I'm willing to put it out there. So
I mean, I would be open to that, but let's see what council says. Councilmember Nasser, I know you had a lot of ideas about this.
Yeah, thank you. I believe I sent an email to everyone for those streetlights after I got elected. I drove around the city. I marked some of the areas that that safety issue, raise a safety issue. So those are the proposed streetlight that I would like to see it. Mostly, actually, our new annexed area. There are some of them. One of them probably, a few of them probably on the Winter Chapel area, and some not much in our side, because most our streets are kind of lit up, unless any of our council members wants to put some additional that they feel like it will help our area or light up area get the safety. Our safety first. So those are the areas that I marked so far. I drove it at night few times, and that's how I feel like those lights should be there. I'm sure everyone will agree with it, or if anyone else wanted to drive around and see what additional needs to be done. Whatever the funding we have and additional funding needed, I really think that we should execute that.
Funding is limited right now.
Five lights.
Right. So yeah, $40,000 roughly, give or take 5 lights. So we won't be able to meet all the locations with.
That's why there kind of needs to be like an assessment, like where's the need the greatest? I actually think the police department is probably best positioned to really say, hey, where do we think the
We have started a study, and I can tell you that Carroll Drive in the new annexed area, as well as Jet Drive, is in need, as well as Red Oak. It's really dark, so I can share that those 3 locations.
Yeah, I think, you know, it'd be great if like you guys were able to come to us with here's our suggestions. And, you know, because it's hard. I might have been to all these places, but I might not have been to them pitch black and like walking on the sidewalk or in the side of the street. And so you guys see it from every angle at every time. And I think for me, that would mean a lot. I think probably the ones that Councilmember.
Most
Yes,
of the area that I picked, actually, there's a dark. I know we cannot light up the whole city, but I picked those areas where kind of dark, and it's kind of safety concern. People can't, when they walk, they can't see the street or they can't see the sidewalks or what's coming up to them.
Maybe just like a suggestion, like let's start here, and then we probably do need to like have plans like that for the annexed areas anyway, because there's just so much deferred infrastructure and maintenance.
I can come back to you with the list as well as some pictures of what it would look like, what it looks like, and so you can see how dark it is.
I was told a lot of robbery happened those areas previously before we took over. That's why kind of like when I knock the door, basically residents tell me, hey, look, we need a light over here because of this. That's where, we don't feel safe. That's what happened. And can you please do something? So, I mean, based on that, I kind of looked around. I went out at night and I kind of made that list that I put it out there for all of us to consider. I'd really appreciate it. Guys help. Thanks.
Councilmember Armistead.
Thank you. Yeah, I would love to defer to you guys as far as where you think. I mean, there's always going to be, we all gave you a long list of suggestions. I don't know if we treat it kind of like the paving list where we just sort of keep a running list of places where we need them and knock them off when we have the funds. But I'm fine with starting with the greatest need. If that's in the annexed area, then that makes sense to me.
Councilmember Henshaw.
Thank you. Can you run down it was $8,000 per? How many, was it $40,000 for 5?
It's $40,000 that's allocated for the solar lighting. We're estimating, depending on the vendor that you're utilizing and the type of street light. So that's why we're saying up to about $8,000 depending on the light.
And GDOT, sorry, not GDOT, apologize, still have GDOT on the brain. Georgia Power, they charge $24 a month per light, but they don't charge any money to install the lights.
No. They do. It's just during this evaluation process, we're able to get the LEDs installed without an additional cost. So we're trying to take advantage of that. That's what I'm trying.
You said it was around $2,000, right?
Yeah, to install a brand new light and pole. It's about $1,900.
Just to replace it with an LED, like a fluorescent with an LED.
Yeah, no, I for some reason during my research I saw that GDOT, Georgia Power provides lighting at no charge. And that basically that $24 a month is a maintenance agreement, but also to pay off the cost of the fixture over time. So you're saying it's actually $2,000 per fixture
for like an immediate install for a new pole and light, about $2,000.
And that goes right to Georgia Power, that money.
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't. All right. So I just want to do the math really fast. So that was $6,000 divided by 24. So it would take about 20 years to pay off the LED lights, the solar powered lights, as compared to putting the lights in from Georgia Power.
If your math is correct,
20.8 years if they don't increase their rates, which obviously they will. So you will figure, 15 something years. Do we know what the service life is on these LED poles?
So there's for the LED poles.
For the LEDs with the solar.
Oh, the solar lights. The company that I'm looking at right now that I've gotten some good feedback on with some other municipalities is a company called Funrock, and they have a 10-year warranty, no matter what warranty on those lights. You're not getting much higher than 10 years, I think, for any company. Typically, it's about 7 to 10 years on the warranty on those lights.
I mean, LEDs last a very long time, so it's not so much, it's really the solar that I think would go bad first, and then, yeah, you'll have some outages, but, don't get me wrong, I'm all for solar. I think it's important, but I'm just trying to look at like on a cost basis, you know, if we get 4 brand new lights per of traditional lighting for every 1 solar light we put in, and the poles that get installed, what's the, I'm sorry, these are really high, very specific questions. The pole being installed versus the light fixture itself, what's the, like, we spent $8,000 putting in a pole and a new light. Is it $6,000 for the pole and $2,000 for the light?
Are we talking solar or Georgia Power?
Solar.
Solar, it's just one whole unit. So it's estimated about $8,000, and it should be less if we're able to do the install in-house on
Yeah.
our own. That's what we're banking on.
Yeah. So I get the reason I'm asking is because like, oh, the solar light died. We can just take the light off and put a new light on.
You can,
and
yes.
And what would that replace?
That I'm not sure. That's a great question.
Okay, because
That's fine.
then it becomes a little bit more economical. Because if every 10 years we're taking these down and having to install all new ones because they're proprietary or whatever it is, it seems like a bad idea. But if we spend $8,000 to install them initially and we have to swap a head out and a new solar panel and it's $2,000, it becomes a little bit more viable. But again, that then stretches that out another.
Yeah,
We could have got another 20 years out of lights. So I'm kind of in favor of a hybrid model where we put some solar powered, but we also just deal with the $24 a month.
Yeah, and to that point, you kind of have to do a hybrid with this because a lot of the locations, I know you guys shared some locations with us, a lot of them, solar will not work. And I know there's companies out there that say their solar power can work in the shade. That's really just battery. And once a battery dies, and we've seen that before, you got to charge a battery to get it back going up again. So you really want to have full sunlight wherever we're putting the solar to get the best possible quality. So
I would also say like, as we move forward, and I know GDOT Georgia Power has their standardized lights.
They're on your mind.
It's probably GDOT dictates how the light throw. The light in front of my house just right into my windows. I mean, you know, these modern, the older lights were kind of a dome, a half dome, and they throw light everywhere. Whereas you could be a lot more specific with the design. So as we look at moving, you know, forward, I would say let's try to illuminate the areas that we want to illuminate and not shine light in people's houses directly. And, you know, so I don't know if that's a standard, that's a road safety thing, GDOT, or if that's a Georgia Power thing, or if that's a city dictated thing. But as we look at fixtures, trying to find ones that, you know, can be more focused on what we want to illuminate versus just, we don't have sea turtles to worry about, but the lights are obnoxiously bright. So as we move forward, let's look at that as well. Sorry for all my math.
Oh, you're good. I like it.
I guess I will say, like, if you guys come back to us with a list, I think council, before you spend any money on the solar lights, council really should see, like, okay, how bad do we think the need is? And maybe that money should be reappropriated. And I always thought the solar lights were going in places where we didn't have like easy access to power.
That's why we wanted the clarification. And the one light that we do have, we were able to take advantage of it's like a little pilot program. So we didn't have to pay the full price. I think that light was like $4 or $5 grand or something like that. And we're just waiting on direction to find out where we want to test it before we move on with, you know, whatever brand we want to use.
Yeah, I always thought it was like for places where we really didn't have easy access. We would have had to like reconnect, you know, power lines and stuff. But
yeah, we tried to use that light at Halpern Park, but the canopy is too dense. So
yeah, I actually, like when Chris Eldridge was talking about solar lights, I was thinking, well, that might work in the winter, but we have pretty high tree foliage. So okay, Councilmember Evans.
Thanks, Mayor. To that point, it's the solar light, I think, on Homeland Drive that works pretty well, but there's a lot of tree foliage and a lot of times it's not enough. But it works well and the neighbors are happy there. Neighborhood interests, I would say where the blue signs are might be a good focal point. I think there's the blue signs for each segmented neighborhood throughout the city. That might be a good spot for lights, possibly as a suggestion, but we'd definitely like your feedback as well. And my only other suggestion, which I don't know how does it work, the underpasses, Tilly Mill is a pretty active area coming off of Peachtree Boulevard. Winters Chapel as well, but I know it's going into Dunwoody. But those areas, there's a lot of pedestrian foot traffic, and at night, it's hard to see people.
Yeah, under the bridge.
Under the bridges.
Yeah,
That's GDOT.
GDOT.
Right.
But different entities do manage, like, handle that, because DeKalb, we're always going to them for the ones that go out at
Yeah, they
Beaufort Highway,
manage
right?
the traffic signals. It's a weird intersection. I'll find out.
But I guess, if we were able to do some solar thing there that runs a line to some lighting, that, to me, that might be a good use of it, because then we control it and we could just, maintain it. But, those types of places where it's going to be really hard to do anything else, I think those are good.
The lights on 285 and Beaufort Highway, I see half of them on, but the other half, are they?
Yeah, so the equipment was tampered with. I assume, I'm not going to assume who it was, but my understanding is the equipment was tampered with and they had to order a part. They were able to fix, I think, one side, like you mentioned, and they're just waiting on the part for the other one. That's what's been the holdup on that one.
Got it. That's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Ray.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I was going to ask a lot of the same math questions, so thanks for beating me to that. I'm kind of open to any solution. I know we just need more streetlights in different places. I would say, and I've got a couple questions here, but as we have whatever evaluation plan we come up with, some sort of comparison of like, okay, the solar lights are pretty much all capital expenditure, and then there's no OpEx really, except for us maintaining on occasion. Georgia Power, you have a smaller CapEx and then larger OpEx over time. But to Councilmember Henshaw's point, it might be a 10, 15, 20-year payoff period. And, capital's hard to come by, especially for a city our size, and it may make more sense to go to that sort of subscription model. And then maybe down the line, the solar panels get better in the shade or batteries are cheaper or whatever, and we can make a switch. One question I had, so you said Georgia Power is doing an evaluation of our current streetlights. Is that just them going around to see how many they would need to change, or are they actually looking and saying, you probably need some here and there?
This is just the existing lights that are out right now. They're basically looking at what is an LED so they can get it swapped out.
Okay, so we wouldn't be able to parlay that into, hey, while you're here, go ahead and install another
I
one.
can try to parlay it.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to be out, maybe we can get a discount and have our money go a little further. I'd be interested in that. Say,
I
hey,
haven't seen much discounts from them, but
I would highly
might be
doubt
good
it.
thing,
It's
yeah.
just, maybe they're in a good mood the day you ask. I can't imagine how they would be, but, okay. So the next question is, so let's say we went with Georgia Power Lights, we're paying a fee each month, and then it gets to a point where we have the money for more solar lights. Can we just decommission those and stop paying them, or is there a cost to do that as well?
Sure, they wouldn't be a fan of that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's a process.
Okay.
Um,
If you could look into that, I would just be curious. Not saying we would have to do it, but just maybe we could go this route and then turn them off later. I think the last thing I'll say is I think some sort of evaluation, especially of areas that we would deem almost dangerous for people to be walking at night because of lack of lights, even if we have to go with the Georgia Power lights, I think we need to try to address those now. I know there's a spot along McClave just after Drury that gets very dark at night. And then not to steal Councilmember Simmons' thunder, because I'm sure he's going to bring this up, but our neighbors along Doral and Tilly Mill walk almost every night. And I even heard them asking about streetlights when I was on Planning Commission. So I would like to find a way to try to get some lights there if it's not solar, but I want us to try to find those areas and address them however we can. And it sounds like, 40 grand allocated for streetlights is great. If it's going to 5 solar lights, it sounds like we could do a lot more going to Georgia Power route in areas we have power. Not that I know for sure, but any sort of kind of analysis and suggestions you can make along those lines now that you've heard from us would be very helpful. So thank you.
Councilmember Simmons.
Thanks, Mayor. Doral was definitely a street I've heard constantly and been talking about, but I agree with everyone here about getting an assessment, sort of like we do on paving, to see what's worse. And if you're telling us the newly annexed streets have zero light, then that totally makes sense, you know? And then, yeah, so cost comparison, if it makes more sense, we get more out of Georgia Power compared to solar. I'm fine with it. I do prefer solar over Georgia Power, but if financially, if it doesn't make sense, there's no need to go with that. And let's see, I said annexed area, yeah. And then I would love to see, and maybe they just don't have the technology yet, but I'd love to try a heavy tree canopy solar light somewhere. So maybe we could find a pilot program to do, or someone would want to try. Just tell them, hey, we're Doraville, City of Trees, come try.
Try it.
I mean, yeah, just to try, because it does. It sounds like it doesn't work from what I heard from Councilmember Evans over in Homeland. That sometimes it goes out and then Halpern Park, and it doesn't sound like they're there yet.
I don't think, I mean, just based on what I've seen and speaking to people that have tried it, it's simply the light works for X amount of time, and once that battery dies, you have to charge it. So, you know,
And that's what's wrong with Doral is it's heavy tree canopy, and that's why it's so dark. So sounds like it might be Georgia Power, but yeah, they're just narrow streets, parking both sides. And then you really can't, no sidewalks. You just gotta walk down. You know, they constantly walk at 10 at night. You know, after they eat, they get together, walk and talk, and it just gets dangerous going up hills, around curves, all that stuff. So anything we can do to help, but yeah, I mean, I want to be fair and make sure there's an assessment and we're fair, because there's obviously places worse than what I'm seeing is what it sounds like. So thank you.
Anybody else have anything else? Okay, well, I guess we'll look for the assessment and move forward from that. All right, Councilmember Ray, you've got an item.
Yeah, thank you. And I think this will be fairly quick. About a week and a half ago, I had a resident of the city reach out. Him and his wife have a little free library, as you guys have probably seen elsewhere, same size as the ones you've seen, that they would like to donate to the city and place in Bernard Halpern Park. He asked, you know, what was the process to do that? Is there an application or anything? I reached out to the mayor and chief, and I don't believe there is a process in place as it stands. He would be donating this, willing to install it. And basically what I'm asking is, you know, could I turn him over? I would help as needed, but turn him over to chief and maybe Public Works or whoever, you know, would be in charge of that to pick a spot in Bernard Halpern and install this little free library. I'll add that they have signage in both English and Spanish, and his wife is already a steward of the program, and as I understand it, would be the one kind of maintaining the box once it is put in place. So that's my ask.
Okay. You know, and this isn't an unprecedented request, because if you guys have been to Brook Park or Little, or I don't know why I'm saying Halpern in my mind, Autumn Park, or the garden in Northwoods, the group Nana sponsored installing them, and I think they got a grant from some library association. Do you remember that? Were you AARP? And Nana actually maintains them, right?
Yes.
And so I guess, is he going to maintain it, or is he giving it to the city and it's the city's to maintain? Because I will say that the ones that Nana installed the first time deteriorated very quickly.
Yeah, it's a good question. I actually did not get that strict detail. He wrote that his wife is the steward of the program. I interpreted that as she would be maintaining the box, but I can follow up with them and verify.
I guess I would just want to, this is for me, I would just want to see them have a plan for making sure it's not leaking, it's, you know, not falling apart. Yeah, like they're taking out any material that's just, you know, spam. Yeah. So that would be my only concern. And I think Chief from Cecil could probably work out like whatever the liability stuff is. Councilmember Simmons?
Sorry, thanks, Mayor. No, I'm in favor of it. I mean, like I was saying, there used to be one there in front of the house by Halpert Park. I remember there used to be one there. I know. Oh, that was his. Okay. I was like, it used to be there and it was gone. It was red. I remember that. I just also I don't want to make sure that you make sure it doesn't coincide with the Bella's blessing boxes that we're doing for the spot they picked. Just make sure. I think that's Majira's handling that now, and Crystal and Jen actually has locations in Andy. So, um, and then you said, are you saying we need to install this or they're installing it? And then that's a Cecil question.
I think we would want Public Works to.
That's what I think. I'm thinking. And then Cecil.
They've volunteered to install it, which they don't have to, but they've also volunteered to include the ground screw and post that the box would be mounted on top of. So it's all the materials would be fully
So
donated.
Cecil, I just assume we'd probably want Public Works to install it since it's going to be on city property, I assume. Just to clarify.
We would just want to get our staff in touch with them. If all the terms are sufficient, we would absolutely want to oversee making sure the installation is safe and appropriate. But a lot of this would be just a conversation for things. And as I'm listening, we have several of these. We may even want to have a sort of a little policy on how we handle these things. So if people make requests in the future, we already know. That was just a note I made. We may want to look at something like that real easy.
Yeah, I want us overseeing. If they install, that's fine. Just oversee it. Just make sure we're all good and no one can say something. And then, yeah, I don't want to maintain it. I'd like the steward to maintain it because I think that makes sense. And then as long as it's no financial burden to the city, I'm fine.
Okay. Councilmember Nasser?
I totally agree with him. And plus, it'll be a good addition. Neighborhood kids can pick up the books as they need it, and education is a backbone of a nation. So why not? Anything for the kids and the neighborhood, I would really appreciate it. But as long as it doesn't cost the city, and plus, I believe I would suggest our public works if they basically install it, so they can do it proper installation and make sure everything legally right. And as long as they maintain it, I'm all for it.
Right. Councilmember Henshaw?
Yeah, I'd be pretty hypocritical. I helped design the 3 that they installed in Northwoods, so they're great. So yeah, everything that they've said, but go for it. Be great to ask them if they want to do 2, and put one at Chicopee Park. They're great. So,
Councilmember Evans?
Great idea. Glad they want to do it. Thanks for bringing it forward to us. One question, stocking it. Will they not only maintain it, but stocking it with books and changing it up?
Yeah, it's a good question. My assumption is that they would put the initial stock in. I actually found out about this. I tried to sneak it into the agenda, so I didn't have a lot of time to discuss with them. I'm assuming they would, but I can iron all of those out. I'm sure I've got some books my wife would love for me to throw into a box too. So
With the Friends of the Doorbell.
yeah.
As well as maybe the school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great idea.
Councilmember Armistead?
I don't really like libraries or books, so no, I think it's great. I would just clarify with them, like we're saying, because when the official verbiage of Little Free Libraries is the steward is the person that keeps it stocked. Which if they're willing to kind of keep an eye on it, that's great. But if they're also willing to maintain the outside, that's even better.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you all very much.
Right. Okay, I have an item on here, and this kind of came up, but we've had a lot of change on the council since I originally came on as mayor. I think the only person who really remembers the old way of doing agenda packets from before, I guess the people, Councilmember Henshaw and Councilmember Nasser, where staff used to spend a good chunk of a day, like printing out binders full of stuff. I think we've moved away from that. A lot of our council members have their own computers that, if I'm up here, people have. I will say, and this is me asking the council to maybe approve this, but not everybody who's on council maybe can afford a computer or, invest in that for for city council purposes or an iPad or whatever, you know, rather than have Shantae spend her valuable time printing out, you know, something that's going to be looked at for a few hours and then thrown away. You know, my suggestion is that we, you know, maybe set aside a few $1,000s from the training budget. If someone needs like a iPad or computer or something, not like high end, but just something that can read through the packet if they want it, that they can just go to the city manager and get it versus, you know, making a big deal. I personally don't want any device other than the phone that I have from the city, but I think that's up to us. But I would definitely not want us to go back to making the clerk and other members of staff, you know, stressing over trying to get this agenda packet printed out for every meeting, because it changes. It's difficult, and you know, it's really, I think in this day and age, kind of unnecessary. So I guess I just wanted to see what people thought. Councilmember Armistead, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as long as the city owns this device, whatever it is, right? But
It has to be turned back in at the end of their term.
fine with that.
Councilmember Evans?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Well, we will still get these.
Yeah, well, the agenda?
Yeah.
We'll still get we'll get the agenda.
Not the full packet though, right? Yeah.
We'll get the agenda. Like, I just don't want us to go back to the binder that used to be here. And I think that would help things out. Councilmember Henshaw?
Yeah, I mean, if you see me looking down, it's because I pull the packet up on my phone and I got to put on my glasses to read it, and it's a pain in the butt. But yeah, I was just pulled it up real quick just to check. Costco has brand new iPads for $300. So yeah, if there's a small amount of money in the budget and someone needs a city iPad or a small tablet or even a little Chromebook, I bought my kid a Chromebook for $150. It'd be perfect for this sort of thing. So yeah, I'd absolutely, every council member, we have these little screens up here for people who can't see them at home. They're just a little tiny copy of what's on the monitor. So we don't actually get to see the packets up here unless we either bring a laptop or print them out. So yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay.
Perfect.
Councilmember Evans has something else, but I want to go through everybody first. Yeah, go ahead.
Clarifying question. Do we have the option of having a phone or a tablet, or was this?
I'm saying in addition to your phone, you
Gotcha.
need the phone. I'm just saying that, like, if somebody doesn't have access to a computer,
Gotcha.
I don't want that to be a barrier to serving as a city council member. Councilmember Ray?
Yeah, I've got no problem with it. Anything to avoid killing that many trees for that much paper. Absolutely. So I think it's a good idea.
Councilmember Simmons?
Yeah, I'm in favor of doing away packets. The only thing I have is if we do get a Chromebook or something, I guess it's open records request and all that. I'd rather have like a checkout or a rent, or why don't we just have it for up here? Because
I'm not suggesting this for everybody. I'm saying if a council member says, I don't have my own computer for email for whatever, that they can get an iPad.
Okay,
or
okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
So this is not, like I said, I don't want to.
Yeah, because I was like, all this is online and we can all.
To authorize the city manager, if council approves, to, you know, make this, you could have a secondary device if you need it.
No, that's fine. Yeah, because I remember I turned in my city phone, so you can use that money for whoever needs it. But yeah, no, I'm fine with that. I definitely don't want to waste staff's time printing this out when we can all get it online. And as Councilmember Henshaw said, Costco has cheap stuff, $150. That's nothing right there.
Councilmember Nassar, what do you think?
I don't know, I'm kind of old school.
Well, welcome to the new one.
I like to, I like to have the paper, but I definitely have more than one laptops to bring it, but I decided not to bring it. I like to do it on the paper.
Well, I guess I would say, you know, given the amount of staff time, it's a lot for them to do. And I do think if, you know, you need a device or a way to go through it. Like all that stuff is like hyperlinked and easy, in a way, easier to read online. Okay. All right. Well, good. Well, so if anyone needs a device to access Chief, you're good with, you'll be able to secure a decent
Yes.
thing for them to access it.
We'll take care of it.
Okay. All right. Great. We're not going to have an executive session tonight. I think we'll have one next week, but we'll go through with council comments. We'll start with Councilmember Henshaw.
No comments.
Councilmember Evans.
Had a great Black History proclamation thank you, Mayor, for those 2 proclamations and the reception beforehand. It was awesome. Great turnout. Thank you for everyone that came.
Thank you. Councilmember Armistead.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind everybody that Doraville is doing another Doraville 101 series that starts, I think I just had it pulled up and it disappeared. February 24th, I think it starts. So registration ends a week from today, February 18th. I did it last time. I thought it was really interesting. If you have any curiosity about how the city works or want to learn more, it's a great way to learn. So please register if you're interested.
Thank you. Councilmember Nasser. All right. Councilmember Simmons.
Yes. So February 28th is the Healthy Pets event here in Doraville. It's for DeKalb residents. It's a free spay neuter voucher clinic with free vaccination clinic where rabies, distemper, parvo, and you get free spay neuter vouchers as well as other supplies for any cats and dogs. So come one, come all. It's February 28th at Assembly. Park in the parking deck. You'll see the signs. It's from 10 to 1. People start showing up usually around 7:30 to line up. It's a great event, and we're going to knock it out this year. We vaccinated roughly 1,300 pets, I think, last year in like a 2-hour period. And then if you're a nonprofit or someone that wants to come set up a table there at the event, please reach out to Majira here in Doraville, and she can get you all set up. We usually have a lot of good turnout and people to come and show what Doraville's about. Also, April 25th at the Eastern, there's the Good Human Gala with Lifeline, which is a big fundraiser for them to sit there and show recognition to all the people that help out in the animal community. So you can get a ticket online at all this you can find on lifelineanimal.org. You know, you can volunteer for the Good Human Gala. I meant for the Healthy Pets event, and then you can buy a ticket for the Good Human Gala. So check it out. It's real fun. A lot of good food, a lot of good people, and it's a good event, both of them. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Ray.
Yeah, thank you. Keep beating this drum until it's not live anymore, but the comprehensive plan update survey is still out there. I believe there's even some ads on social media. I saw one, so please take that if you're interested in shaping the future of the city.
They actually mailed it out to everybody, and you can win a gift card for what?
$500.
$500.
Yeah.
Potentially. So it's a raffle. You're not going to automatically get $500, but you know, if you like to live on the edge, I think that's an exciting way to do it. Just send it in the mail.
Just give good answers. Don't just run through it for the $500. But yes, absolutely. Merely Players Presents, I believe, is doing a show for Death of a Salesman starting February 20th, I think. So check that out. And then we got a couple shout outs today from residents talking about the work the police have done. I would just encourage anyone to go and check out the multiple pages in the packet going through the stuff they do. I think it's always pretty interesting and humbling to read. So thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.